Yeah, I know I'm good, but I'm getting better. Like wine, this could have been an email, so don't be wasting my time. Don't be up in my face, don't be all in my space.
Hey, welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Evolutionary Media, aka Evolutionary Brooklyn, aka Evolutionary. Listen, we're gonna get right into it. I am your man, Coach Ferg, here with my fellas tonight. We're gonna have more joining us for sure later on in the show. Listen, let's get right into it. Our technical difficulties have been resolved, and now we are ready to resume into our journey of this next phase of being men and being evolutionary men also. So yes, let's get right into it, man. So I'm gonna start out with my little P right now. P, my little physical man, I had to do a push-up test for myself, so I did 40 straight, and that's my first time in about 6 years. So I
All
feel all
right.
right. I got 10 more to go. 50, I'll be good. But yeah, that is a cool, man. I just man, my intellectually again, man, evolving into spaces, just trying to give a good word and see how we can just make this transition over the next few years, man. Emotionally, I'm a little excited. Got some things going on. I finished some projects around the house and trying to just continue to just build some more stuff around, just my life. And spiritually, man, I'm connected to my family, my wife, my dogs, and I'm connected to this group right here, this energy right here. So salute, I'm in. What's up, fellas?
Hey, salute. I mean, physically, you want to stay strong, no health issues. I'm glad. I'm blessed. Emotionally, hey, it's gonna be stress every day when you're dealing with other people and you have to wait on their clock and their time. So, you just have to flow with it. But intellectually, I'm still researching every day on something new I don't know. I like to learn new things. And one of the, like I said from the last show, where did the word thought come from? I went back and it was phenomenal what I've learned from that. Spiritually, I guess because of the other three, I didn't have time to be spiritual this week. So I'm trying to just level out and just, look forward to the what they say, the fruits of the labor. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's man. Listen, see that journey you on, man. It sounds better every week, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. Physically, man, I stepped out of my comfort zone, and for about a year, I was using a gym where I'm at. So today, I went and signed up for the YMCA, man. So open a little bit more. There's more I can do there. Swimming, get the bones moving. Intellectually, trying to build this website out. It's giving me headaches, man. For the brand and everything like that. Emotionally, I think I can now. I'm on the light of the tunnel. I can now say, well, at one point in time, I said once I was done school, I'll get back in the dating scene. So I'm close by. I'm close by. I'm seeing the light of the tunnel. So I'm prepping myself emotionally. And like I said, I'm spiritually, it's the same thing, man. I find myself getting close to the Lord and doing what I need to do on my own little journey with that. You know what I mean?
Salute.
Hey, salute, man. Great check-in, man. Salute to y'all, man. I like the way the check-ins are just evolving, man. And it's just a part of who you are, man. Now, to just help y'all, give y'all a little bit tweaking the check-in, right? It's always in your immediate time where you at in the moment based off give it the past 7 days since we last communicated. It's in that moment because you transcended past the whatever small issues of life may have brought, whether it's like managing, you know what I'm saying, making sure you got gas and you got food. So once you completed those are small accomplishments though.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
that you're in the space right now, you can reflect on, okay, cool. I've learned some new things because I still want to know, what did you learn about the word, Carl? Because you mentioned it. What did you learn about the
Oh,
word? Where did it originate
okay.
from?
Well, this was one of them things where you're sitting
Carl,
there.
where did it originate from?
Oh, it was a young lady that was into how did it go? She was snatched up and put into prostitution, and it's one of those. It's a depressing story, but then and I from what I've gotten from it, I don't think no black person should be using that word.
There you go.
To
There you
be
go.
honest, Venus, I think it was Venus Hottentot, Hottentot.
Uh, Now you're talking about Hottentot Venus, Sarah Barton. Listen, Sarah
Right.
Barton, and maybe we can get into that another day. But that's
Yeah.
why I'd be so critical because her story is so mind blowing, and it'll change
Yes.
any woman's life, any young woman's life. And
Yes.
listen, so Hottentot Venus was a sort of a slur name that they gave her, but her
Yes.
story is legendary. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
understand that. But yeah, I wish all sisters was, had that. I don't know. It's like they put in a bad light, but what she represented is modern and just been throughout our bloodline. That's the way
Like
it
I
is.
said, my thing
But
was more blind blown because she encountered like what most people do in 40 years. She did in 25. She died at 25. So it's
yeah,
like, damn, man.
but they and that was the true beginning of sexual exploitation. That was
Yes,
the true
1800.
beginning of a woman
Yes.
being sexually exploited. And here's and
Hmm.
thing, I'm gonna say this, and then we gonna get into the questions and the topic, right? They didn't bury her body until almost 40, 50 years after she passed, 35, 40 years after she passed. So we're going to leave it at that. So it ain't us, ladies. We want y'all. We want to protect y'all. So that was a
Hmm.
question in the chat, right? Let's go to
Hmm.
that. I think it was Snuggles. Her question is, how do you men feel about biblically based women? Elevated, you want to start?
Yeah. Go ahead, Proverb 31.
Yeah. So it's depending. Well, I can't speak completely from a religious perspective, but if we go back to if we're going back by standards, by the standards of most women were raised by the Bible in ancient days, in
Hmm.
my understanding, which is the Proverbs 31 woman. But I think with from that perspective is I think that's contextualized. Now the term biblically, I don't know how biblical she would be, but if I'm on my journey, we got to be equally yoked in that mindset. We both have to be at the same levels as far as
Hmm.
being biblical. She can't be ahead of me. I can't be ahead of her because at one point in time, one of us is going to have to make a decision. So we
Okay.
both got to be on that journey together. So that's a conversation that I'll have to have with her. But like, where are you at in that biblical journey? Because if we're not the same, or we even, if you're here and I'm just getting there, I don't know if you're gonna have the patience with me, or vice versa. So that's a conversation that's going to have to be had. And most likely, I think 6 out of 10 times it's not going to work because nobody's had the same understanding the majority of times, or at the same level of being biblically intact.
Hmm. I'm gonna be nice. Um, if she's spiritually sound, I can deal with it. But there's a thing of where people can take it a little bit too far. And when I mean too far, it's just for show. So I don't think I can comprehend a person that has to be seen and heard in a church every Sunday, 3 times a week, all about status and titles, and don't even understand nothing about what you're enjoined with. So it's kind of hard for me to be acceptive to a Bible thumping religious chick that has no understanding of the history and the culture, nothing about what she claims she believes in. So I think that would be my line in the sand when it comes to that, you know,
Mm.
if I could say overly spiritual woman, because some people try too hard.
Hey, Coach. Seems like we have a guest here.
And who's the
So,
guest? Who
so
came up?
yeah,
I can't read.
gotta turn that camera on, brother.
I think
Yeah.
this young lady,
Whoever
Put the
it is,
names up here, bro.
they gotta turn that.
Sunshine, can you grace us with your presence, please?
Who the hell you calling a lady?
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, sir.
oh man,
Uh,
okay.
all
Now
right,
you gotta
Mike
get your
Tyson.
avatar, man.
he came up quick. He
Yeah,
came
get
up
your avatar.
quick.
All
What's
right,
up, bro?
all right, Buster Rhymes, what's
What's up,
going
baby?
on?
What's up, man?
Oh, we got jokes tonight. We got
Nah, I
jokes tonight.
thought no, the
What we
name
doing?
was right there. Her comment was right
Mm-mm.
there, and then I couldn't see the name of the person, so I was like, so this time you go real quick. I figured he's gonna pop up.
Oh man, what's going on, fellas?
What's up,
What's
man?
going
Hey,
on,
What's
brother?
up, man? So, brother D, I want to ask you a quick question, man. How do you feel? What's your energy like right now?
Energy's good, man. It can be better, man. I'm just gonna just taking day by day.
Oh, okay, cool, man. So there is a pending question that was given to us in the chat, right, by Snuggles 2.0. The question
Mm.
is, and this is you can answer the question: how do you feel about biblically based women? Yeah, that's our question. I'm just repeating the words. Evo, could you highlight that for us?
Define biblically based
Hey, man. Hey, okay, I'm just saying.
Hmm.
because there's a lot of whores in the Bible.
Ooh, Lord.
There you go. I think we were
So,
talking about the sorrows and the good, the good women, the
oh,
women that
so
made some stew, over open fire and, nurtured the animals and the kids to be strong. Those
uh,
type.
Mm, mm,
um,
mm,
I mean,
mm.
the question is how do I feel about them?
Yeah, people being their feelings. So this is how you can answer it.
Um, Basically, I mean, what it is, what it is. I mean, that's how they lead their life. That's how they lead their life. That's their choice.
Yo, she's bad looking, man.
Got you.
I
Look at
mean, you
who?
like her. She's gorgeous. Look at everything, all the check. But she starts talking that biblical, no sex till marriage. Come on, what you doing, D?
For me, hey, look, I've been there before already, man. I mean, it's a challenge, but again, I mean, it is what it is. That's their choice. That's their choice. We can't really say nothing else about it.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
pretty much it, man.
'Cause I've ran across one. I remember vaguely. Yeah, you gotta come to church with me. You gotta meet the pastor and
Oh, that's
all
easy.
these
That's
people.
nothing. That's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
light
no,
work.
no. I wasn't
That's
doing
light work.
that.
Did any of them tell you that you got to give $400 a month?
No, no, no. See what I'm saying? That's why I said it was nice meeting you. You
So,
know.
so fellas, what's the correct representation of the Bible though? I mean, let's biblical, because if you look at our community, how do we even represent the biblical that factor? What's the representation? Do we have a negative or positive connotation with the Bible in our community? First of all, with that.
Well, first of all, you got to remember the Bible was written by men. So,
Yeah. So
yeah,
how you representing something that not even a mirror of you? Because I've always asked black men, "Are you Jewish?" If you're telling me you believe in the Bible, then you must be taking on the Jewish culture.
But does the religious aspect of it connotate with the Bible? Does it have to be that specific, or can you be any religion and still believe and still read the Bible though?
I
You can
think,
read it.
yeah,
you can be any religion, but like I can say, like for myself, I believe in. I was baptized. I was baptized Baptist Christian, but I always was a student of knowledge. So basically, I read the Torah, I read the Quran, and I read some philosophies of Buddhism. So it's like it's basically it's not all the same, but it has its own philosophy. So I'm really open to it, no matter what. But I mean, they have their different versions for how a man's supposed to be.
yeah. But here's the thing, though, for me, just in all of those, right, in all of those texts, all of the preparation of man in life is still fundamentally the same. They're
Yeah,
all fundamentally the same. I don't put
yeah.
no man above me that look like me or look any other complexion or long hair, short hair. I don't know. You niggas is all equal to
Mhm.
me. I'm a walk in the sand and I'm gonna go fight the battle. Some of y'all go get behind me, but I don't look at it like I'm better or less than any man or woman on the earth. No, it doesn't matter.
And it
I'm,
doesn't matter if they're alive or deceased.
yes,
And
Exactly.
this is what
I'm
and
gonna give.
this
I'm
is why
always
I
give
said about the
respect for
Bible.
those that are deceased, those that passed before me of my generation, and the people that I saw suffer dearly before me. They'll get more respect than any nigga walking on earth. But I
Okay.
respect all men, regardless. I don't look at it as a all black thing, all white. No, it's a man thing to me, a man for the
Mhm.
world. So when it comes to like stuff like that, I like a woman that is from the fundamental side of a woman, the good women of the Bible that took care of themselves, took care of the family, had a little discipline. And even the man, I ain't gonna always do it right, but I want to be able to. I used to take it personal when they get say the story. Jesus was a carpenter. I took that shit personal. Like I'm a carpenter too. I can fix stuff. I used to take shit apart and fix it and make skateboards. I used to do all that stuff because that's in my mind. But I never said it a lot. I never talked about it. I never really tried to disrespect people. I don't even curse women like that. I don't even call women no B. I got sisters. So it's just like
Oops.
some stories, you know what I'm saying? The temptations, hell, I was young. I would smoke weed as a teenager. We all had their little nurtures, but I still wasn't trying to intentionally hurt somebody. And I think that's where we lose our blessings when we do things out of spite, and it can have long-term effect. But some people, we just give up too soon before we get our niche, find our break. So a woman to me, I like a woman that can cook, clean, take a bath, wash her hair, fix some food. I mean, rub my back, all that, do all that.
Mhm.
But
You know?
what? So, fellas, I asked that question, Coach, and I'm gonna piggyback on what you said about that, because if you look at the context of these religions, that's why I asked it just there and Carl. Every religion has a specific context or scripture in the Bible that depicts how their woman should be acting within that religion. If you're following what I'm saying, you got Muslim, you got there's different versions of these females that are created with the context.
That's
With the
culture
context.
based. That's culture based though.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying, that's so in our culture though.
Right.
When you look at our culture, there's only a minimum, a few that we can actually, unless you were raised in a neighborhood that's predominantly or mixed. you're really not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You're really
I know
only.
exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, you're really only courted. Or, I mean, not courted. You're only really raised to recognize one type of woman when it comes to the biblical scriptures.
But see,
It,
this is the thing. When you even when you like, I'm gonna use the Quran for a second. We're not talking about just a book written by man. We're also talking about laws that's incorporated together with the Quran. So when you go to certain countries, it's not just reading the Quran, you following it because the laws surrounding that particular demographic supports it. You understand? So if me and a girl, let's say we went to Dubai, no, you can't stay in the same hotel together because you're not legally married. And that's haram according to their laws and their Quran. It's that simple, you know. But when you come back to the United States, you can be a baby daddy 4 times, bro. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you. You're
that
not
kind of
stoning
makes sense.
people.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
not stoning people here.
you know, I
Why
mean,
you do? Why you do that?
it's
Listen,
just.
they're not cutting nobody's hands off that's been stealing. And we've been a lot of looters all over the place since George Floyd. People still got their hands after stealing how long?
And then,
It's
okay,
different.
so what's funny, Coach? This young gentleman joined at the right time
Mm-hmm.
because the next question I was going to ask is to contextualize the Muslims, things like that. This rolls into what about the biblical woman who's okay with being the second or the first or third wife? How do you guys? I mean, that's are we going to judge them? How what are we looking at men? If we don't believe in poly, we don't believe things like that. What are we? How do we see these differences of women? That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna. Now we're going into a religious bout between what does that say in the Torah, the Bible, the Quran about poly lifestyle? Is they all gonna say the same? Are they gonna be governed by the same rules and laws and procedures and processes?
No.
Actually,
What?
they are.
You sure about that?
Yeah,
That's what I thought. That's why I said he came at the right time because I
yeah.
think they're all representations of the same
It's
conversation.
all representation of the same thing. Everybody just by different names. That's all. Well, the Quran was Muhammad, where the Bible was Jesus or Moses or Zachariah or whoever they talking about at the moment.
10 people on the same corner see the same accent with different versions of events.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
That's what
yeah,
it is.
and that's part of the whole psyche of the human brain. That's what religions do. It sort of separates you from dissecting into the whole truth. It gives you a piece of the story. And a lot of people follow that one piece of the story through most of their lives and they stay stuck in that piece.
Yeah.
Well,
No
these
man,
look
I
at
say this, no brother, real quick, no brother in America now that the P Diddy tape has been off, the oil is over, everything been exposed. No man can afford to go forward without learning all disciplines of life. You cannot do it. It would benefit you if you can just find a way. And it's there though. It's coming. But with this stuff, because now how you translate, because you got to translate the word to real life. And those that don't, they saying our wealth will be almost zero.
40
I think
scholars took it took 40 scholars to put a Bible together.
I don't believe
Yet,
that. I think it's
yet,
about 10 of them.
yet, yet we've had
So they say.
revisions after revisions since how long? Come on.
but I mean, Coach, to your point and to Carl's point. With that being said, I mean, when you look at the woman you meet, and she says, "I'm Muslim," or "I'm Baptist," or "I'm this," does that stop you from actually courting her?
No,
No.
no religion ever stop me. No.
I'm not gonna sit there and say none because that's bull. I think that if I came across a chick and she said she was Jewish, we might have an issue.
Why?
Right.
Because again, am I signing up for that culture? It's not just the religion, it's the culture that I also have to sign up for.
You're not signing up for the culture. You're signing up for the woman.
So who's
Depends.
That
so
comes with the
called?
biblically based woman, though.
No, but it also comes to the question: who is leading the relationship?
Exactly.
We're leading it, but again, you cannot force me or persuade me to take on something that I don't want to take up or
But
I'm
see,
not
here's
capable
the
of
thing.
taking up.
But if that woman's treating you right, like everything is going straight, and she's bad as hell, and she's treating you right, and then she come out and tell you she's Jewish, you're going to just gonna stop right there.
There's some, like I said, there's some things I'm just going to be like, hold up. It's just like if you got with a chick and she eat
Alcohol.
ham. Listen carefully, guys.
You gonna
If
stop
sh-
right there?
if you're sitting here saying you don't eat pork, but you're hooking up with a chick that will make pig feet 5 days a week, even though
That's
you're the
her.
leader of a household,
That's
she
her.
still could. But see, this is what I'm saying. I cannot enjoy myself with someone opposite of preference and standard.
That's understandable.
I agree with that.
It's understandable, but
Understandable.
that
Yeah,
like I leave it up to that's her because I can still cook my own food. So
I mean, why you
yeah,
think so many people broke up during the pandemic and all over a damn a shot?
yeah.
You know, you getting vaccinated? I don't believe in that. Oh, we divorced now. You know, I mean, come
Hey,
on.
it goes back, fellas. It goes back to my
Exactly.
favorites. It goes back to my favorite quote. She asked me, "How do I like my eggs? I want them equally yolked." We got
Okay,
There you go.
all
we
right, you
we,
go ahead with that.
There you
we got
go.
to be let. No, let's be realistic because at the end of the day, this trickles down, man. Because what if you have kids? How you gonna raise the kids depending on
See,
how
here
she
we
feels?
go. So
You know,
she wants to take them to the synagogue, and I'm saying, nah, we going to the masjid.
But what's wrong with going to both though?
yeah, it's gonna go
mm,
to both.
What's
But
wrong with going
also,
to
but
both? Because
also,
that will
but
oh, go ahead.
also, it can take them as when they're little, but when they get old enough to understand each one, they can make their own decision.
Right, they're gonna choose. They're
Yeah,
gonna choose the right
I'm
one.
not. I'm not. Okay. I'm
And
going to leave it there because I know that that is the biggest issue that men and women
No,
today do not discuss until after the fact, and it causes problems.
cause
How
problems.
you raise children versus how she raised
She raised.
children, and all of. I mean,
sir,
what we have in common may suit us, but now raising a child that has developed his own mind. Come on, we believe in working. That child believes in sitting in front of a video game all day.
no, Carl. No, Carl. You're missing the point because if father and mother are raising a child, if the father's not
Together.
leading that home and the child being efficient, then the father's lacking. Both parents are lacking. That's all I'm saying. But so listen, that's a question, Carl. Listen, you're gonna stand strong on that. And just look at all sides though. Look at all sides. Yes, you know you couldn't get a woman. She said she was Jewish. Would you get with a woman with Muslim,
Of
a
course.
Buddhist, a Buddhist? But she say,
Mm,
but this woman that's a Muslim say you gotta go Muslim. You can't be a Christian.
Hmm.
I got a dashiki in the
that's
in the
that's that's
closet.
but that,
Ah, now
but
you
that's
go
what
There you
submit
go.
to the
There we
woman,
go. See, there we go.
Carl.
There we go. You towing the
Just let
line
my
now,
man
Paul.
jump
There we
in
go.
here, man.
I'll put the kufi on with no problem.
Hey,
It's
man.
it's
Oh,
like I
what's up,
said.
they,
man?
It's like I
shalom,
said.
bro.
It's the culture that goes with it because
Come on, Carl, man.
a lot of these religions, just like I pointed out earlier, Christianity. Come on, bro. On Sunday, you get up, you put on your clothes, you smell good, you go to church. You leave the church, you can smoke your cigarette, smoke your bud, drink, whatever you're gonna do. Ain't nobody coming after you. But then when you're talking about going to a masjid, even after, you know, Friday Juma, you just gotta you can't do what you want to do because again, there's people watching you. And they take it a little bit more serious than people that's in the church. I'm just saying.
But hold on. But then it comes back to the perspective of where are you at spiritually, and are you
Mhm.
guys on the same level? Because at the end of the day, we should now have a discernment to say, well, you know what, she's not my match, or vice versa. Have that conversation, and then walk away. But there's also I was asking earlier. This is where I was going before we end up, Coach. Let me throw this in there. The negative connotation on a biblically spiritual woman and I have to say this because we can't be hypocrites and just be on one side. I was raised, maybe wrong, but the culture that we have is that if you want some easy woman, go to the church. If you want to crit all the females that in the church, y'all heard that aspect, correct?
No.
Mm, mm.
Y'all never heard that?
No.
If y'all want, because they haven't had so much, it's out there that if you want a good woman, go to church. You want a woman who believes in good sex, can cook and all that, or if you want an easy woman, because that's where all the women, because you got the young ones in there that don't know the Bible.
I'm going to give you a little credit to that. It was only the evolving of women that were in the church. Yes, you started hearing that because you started seeing more AA, Narcotic Anonymous, ex prostitutes, strippers. All of that came through. So yes, I can see why that idea that you can get an easier woman because they already been there, as opposed to the women prior to that they
Yeah,
wasn't playing that. So I
they
get
wasn't
it.
playing that. Yeah.
What's up, man? Let's get our brother King Talk in here, man. What's up, Mr. King Talk TV? Salute, man. Thank you for joining us, man. I don't know how much you heard of the conversation, man. Do you have anything you want to add to this discussion right here, brother?
No, I thought that you guys were about to get into into a piece of it that I would have jumped in, but right now it's just good vibes. Enjoying listening to.
Okay, man. You don't want to make a comment on the part that you know what I'm saying, be able to connect in the conversation? Because I think someone's mentioned about multiple wives and things like that. So, no.
This is the second week in a row. Okay, so
you ain't got to, man. I'm just asking, man. We can go. Okay, let's move on, man. Let's move on.
Hey, Coach. Before you do that, man. Hey, before y'all do that, man. Shout out some of these people in the chat,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Tell them what they need to do, man. Because if they don't do it, we gonna go find them.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Shout out y'all people, man. We already, you know what I'm saying?
Wife School podcast, I mean, I love y'all comments. Y'all keeping us moving. Sunshine.
Yeah. Go
We're
Daryl.
probably, listen, I'm going to tell everybody,
salute.
Tell them all in the comment. We have facial recognition software in this group. So if you don't like, subscribe, and follow, we know where to find you.
Listen,
Just
the way that people set up right now, listen, we taking extra jobs on the sides.
Yeah.
That extra income. So if you up here watching, you ain't subscribed or like the video yet.
Listen, we're coming at you like we're ice, man. I'm telling
you. I got those IP addresses.
Evo, we got a super chat from Daryl over. Salute, Daryl, with a little super
salute,
sticker,
Daryl.
man.
Thank you, brother.
Welcome, man. Salute, man.
Respect for that, brother.
Richard, man. We got Kwame. We got Richard Reed. Who else we got? Mrs. J. Okay, Miss Poppins. How you doing, lady? Black Beauty Gaming. Elevated Cognition. Yeah, man. I see you, brother. Yeah, man. Wife School. Salute. Hey, man. Let's go.
I try to jump in the chat and try to talk in the chat at the same time, but I can't be. It's that little lag is coming up,
So Evo have a question, and I would like to get the majority decision on this question. She want to ask this question, right? What about if a woman, your lady, your fiance, say she's celibate until, a woman that you meet, she ain't even got to that far. You woman that you meet, but you like her vibe, you like her sex appeal, you like all that. And she say, I'm going to be celibate until I'm married. What do you do?
That's a two-part. Wait a minute. That's a two-part question when you're asking a man. If she already has children, we're not going to believe you. If you have if you don't have no children, you still might get. It was nice meeting you. So,
all right, cool, simple.
I'm being honest.
Well, I'm going to give another side of that honesty. There are some guys who will respect the fact that you don't want to have sex till you get married, but it has nothing to do with whether or not they continue having sex up until you get married.
I love that part.
But that's truth right there. Anybody else? It's a short answer question, but
we wait.
I plead the fifth.
This is one of those. This is one of those questions where you be like, we're not on the same timeline.
Yeah, for sure.
If I'm not there with you, if I'm listen, the other side of that again, like you're saying, is the semen retention portion for men. We don't do celibacy. Semen retention is totally different. If we're not, if I'm not on that journey with you, I'm sorry, we're not going to have that convo. It's just the truth. Then you're not for me because that's a priority. Then at that moment in my life, that would be a priority. It's not a priority for you. So no, I would just
Can
be
I
let's be
can I
real.
can I honestly say is that I understand the question, and I know we went down this rabbit hole, but do the person saying it ever sit back and say, why do he have to? Because he doesn't have to. You can't be that selfish or self-absorbed to think that a person's supposed to sign their name on the line and go along with a program that they really don't have to deal with or put up with or never did, for that factor. So you got to ask yourself, what makes you so special to make a man say, "Yeah, I got the lottery ticket"? Because, huh?
I
Come
don't
on,
know. I ain't got no answer for that, man, because we all know what that is, man. It's called delusion. That's what it's called, man. Let's,
same man.
yeah, but
I like what the brother said, though.
yeah,
He
that's
said,
true.
"Yeah, I'll be celibate with you, but I'll take your offer, but I'm not going to be celibate
Yeah,
with you. I'm still going to get it elsewhere until you decide to say,
but
okay, it's that time."
that's an unspoken knowing.
Yes,
It's
right.
already
It's like
unspoken. He
you
just spoke it out loud, but it's already a brother that's on his square that's about that got some motion in life.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
our
like you
you,
priority.
asking.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
It's like you asking somebody to lie to you.
Yeah,
Our
Be
priorities are
honest.
different at that perspective. That's where priorities come in. We talk about
yeah.
what's more important in the relationship to you. Where does sex rank for a man
Oh,
now?
that's bullshit.
I mean, you got to have that combo. Maybe it's not important to her, but it's going to be important to you.
Why is it always it's not important to her after she already been ran through or after she lost her virginity how many years ago? Or I mean, come on, that's one
Okay.
sided, bro.
So I have a theory. It's similar to a person that knows, like me, for example. I'm not gonna. I moved out of Miami because I found it too distracting for my lifestyle. Right? There are some people that know they love candy, so they stay out of candy stores.
Mhm.
Okay.
If this person knows that she has been, promiscuous or just very active, right? Let's just go with very active. Let's give a very PG version, right? She's been very
Okay.
active. I know that there's certain dance hall clubs. If I'm trying to be home before the sun, I'm not going there, right? Maybe sex is
Mhm.
that for her. Maybe when she starts getting back on being sexually active, she's going to find herself distracted from the goals she has in life. Maybe she's trying to change the results of those past behaviors, right? Because if you keep on doing the same, the definition
yeah.
Right.
started is you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a
It's
different,
insanity. It's insanity. Is what it's called.
right? So that a lot of times I see people they want to stop. Women who are on their second child, like, okay, I've been choosing poorly. I get hot, but she might be. I get hot. She gets that drink in her, and she knows she's ready to turn up. So now she's drinking less or not putting herself in those scenarios.
Oh
And
man,
it,
So
that
hold on. So
sounds
King
fucked
Talk.
up.
So King Talk. What you're saying is because you said she's choosing poorly. Is she's making poor decisions?
Oh, she was. She was.
Everything that you spoke is about her making poor decisions, right? Because
right.
whether she gets with a man that's about his business or she get with a what they say a Pookie or Ray Ray, she's
Mm-hmm.
still making poor, reckless decisions with any of those men with her body, and they have self autonomy with their body. However, our problem is it's not the fact that we are out here. Everybody's been busting it down since the 60s, since they gave us the pill. The problem is we have unprotected sex. That's our problem.
I agree.
So
So
why do you want to make me or any man draw the unlucky straw? I mean, come on, like I
I'll,
said,
I'll answer that for you,
eight,
Carl.
eight, 10 dicks later, now you on vacation? What the fuck?
I'll answer that for you, Carl.
That's the nature
And this is
of
and
Carl
it goes hand in hand.
go for life.
Listen to this, because if you look at the perspective of growth in life, people grow, people elevate, right? People change, right? All right. So
Hold up.
now
I'm
again, it
making.
goes back to the
Hold up.
conversation. Hold
Hold
on.
up. Hold on. Hold on. Before you go any further, I'm making that a fucking meme. I swear to God.
what's that?
The 8-10
Yeah.
days later, now you on vacation?
So people grow, right? There's room for growth. There's room for elevation in everybody's life. Now, if you meet a woman at a certain stage, I don't think the onus and looking at it after I heard King talk, looking at it from a different perspective, a different lens. Why would I even hold her accountable for her prospect? Is whether or not I can match up to it, whether or
That's
not I choose to
bullshit.
deal with it.
I'm gonna call bullshit on the play
No,
again.
seriously. Hold on. Let me finish. It should be whether or not I can make that decision to own up to it. If I can't, then I need to move on, because it's not me. Why would I come into her life now trying to criticize and change her thought process, her growth?
I still call bullshit on the play because
Okay.
mommy and daddy taught you long time ago how to proceed. You choose not to. Now you had your hot girl, hot boy summers, whatever, and now when critical issues come about, responsibility and commitment issues and all that, now all of a sudden you want to take a vacation? You was taught this shit when you was younger. You didn't listen then.
She
Now
got
all
to
of a
be a
sudden
hoe.
you want to listen.
She got to be a hoe for life, Carl. She can't switch.
Listen, bro, I'm not saying you got to be a hoe for life, but it's kind of hard to be
What's
No,
a.
up, Jonita?
Let me put it this way: it's
Even
hard for,
hoes need a break.
but this
but
is what I'm saying.
come on, man.
You can't go from being a porn star to now you want to be celibate, and then it's come on, dog.
No,
It's
but here's the problem though. Listen. Okay, King Talk. I'm gonna entertain your feminist ideology with that question, right?
Lord Jesus. All
Yes,
right.
she could be. She could be redeemed from that, right? However, they don't come with the full package. They bring in half the groceries. They don't bring the whole meal to the house. They don't, and that's the problem. They not doing it, and she can be
right.
redeemed, but she got to be willing to sort of just relinquish a lot of the fake control that she has,
All
especially
right.
if she finds a good brother that's working, that's taking care of business, that's willing to
Yeah.
commit to that, take on the slow ass kids. Because I swear these kids seem like they're getting fatter and fatter, but ain't nobody getting smarter and smarter. I believe we can do it at a 90%. However, if they would just say, you know what, I made bad decisions also. Dudes I chose, yes, but he could be a good father. So if a brother want to come into that, just be willing to submit all your Halloween candy, work with them, pay them damn bills, clean up, wash, take a bath, fix some cakes or something.
See, I don't, I, s- and I
It's
No,
still
hold
don't.
all
on, hold on,
one.
hold on,
I
hold
still
on,
don't
hold
like
on,
that
hold on.
because now
It,
it's like convenience, man.
it sounds
Nah,
like,
I
hold on.
got it.
Y'all
So
would.
One quick statement. You know, I'll keep it short. It sounds like we're describing the kind of women we shouldn't even give our dick to.
that's why I say it comes back to us. That's what I'm telling you, the fellas. It comes back to us because we're talking about women we wouldn't even have a conversation with. So right off the bat, we know we're not talking to them. So let's
But
leave that alone. But at some point in time, we have to also not be hypocritical, because it goes back to the first question Coach asked. What if these biblically sustained women could have a history, could have a past? So what, you're not going to date her? You're going to say no?
no.
Yo, in a world where everybody listen,
I'm just
in a world
asking,
where,
fellas. We
where,
can't.
where
We
in a
can't.
world where everybody will lie to get what they want, yo, bro, you're really asking the most impossible question at this point.
My advice is find somebody that's healed,
But,
because healed people don't lie.
but
That's a
brother, here's the
bullshit lie
problem.
there.
Listen, brothers are
Let
acting.
me let me
The
let me,
women.
let me hold up. Let me explain to you why. I am not allowing somebody to come into my life and disrupt my peace simply for the orgasm that they can bring me.
There you go.
It goes back to the priority. Well, where the sex life for the man versus sex life for the woman in that conversation.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem though that I see out here with all these single dudes that's got it going on. Y'all still not finding the bad women that's got it going on and getting together. That's
That's
the
because they
problem
don't.
I
That's because
see.
They're
that's
not.
because They don't know how to date.
I'm like, how y'all I got it going on. Y'all supposed to see through all the weeds and sort of find each other, but everybody's not doing that.
Come on now,
it's,
coach.
well,
Coach.
don't do that,
Coach.
coach,
It's more.
because
Coach.
you
Don't do
know.
that. Don't do that.
I
Hold
know
on.
us by 10
I
to
got
1, but
coach, stop. You know damn well every year, there's a new cell phone out. There's a new way of picking a lock. There's always an upgrade from what you thought. Damn it, you know Windows 7. We're up to Windows 11 in a few months. It's constantly evolving that you got to constantly play catch up. So when you're talking about people, women, men, they got new ways of bullshit. You got to keep up.
Take the bullshit out of
okay,
it.
man.
Hold on, coach. Hold on. Take the bullshit out of it. Let me throw this caveat out there to fellas. In our dating stage, whether it's going to be coming up, coach, you're married. Let's take you out of it. For the rest of the fellas who are single and say you're looking and King talk, you know, you can give your perspective from your point, your POV, but do we up here we're talking about this, do we even know what we're looking for in a woman? Do we even know how to date? When was the last time we've been on the market? These questions, do we know when to stop a conversations? As us, let's use us as a sample versus what coach is talking about, the dating pool.
The best relaxed way that I've found over my years is comedy. As long as a woman can laugh and you're not serious about everything, you'll be fine. But comedy has always been the gateway, if you want to call it, to relax in a person's mind and relax in a conversation because everything don't have to be so damn serious.
I think that might be the issue here because I think women take that courting and that dating a little bit more seriously than we do.
No, they don't, brother.
No,
I'm just
man.
asking.
Listen,
No,
when
they
you
don't.
listen,
You
if
don't think
you
so?
have listen, agenda, intentions, and
No.
motive. I don't care how funny your ass is. I don't care what. The only thing that is focused is how to get what they want. Men and women do this, man. It's predatory behavior. I don't give a damn about if a dude got a big dick. I'm only concerned about his big pocket, or vice versa.
But that goes back. That's, again, it goes back to the caliber of women that we're talking to, though. It goes back to
It's not caliber. It's it's a jumble of mindsets in a bowl. You know, it's like trying to find a raisin in a soup. You understand? It's too much.
Shout out to Uncle Rick, man. This is the first person. He's the person. Listen, the good women staying too close to the ones that give a bad representation. Just like a
Yeah.
lot of the good bros stay too close to the bros that give a bad. And I think a lot of what I've seen is a lot of brothers are afraid to be a lone wolf in life. You have to be
stand by yourself.
willing to face the world being a lone wolf. And I
And
think
this
a
is
lot
this
of
is
brothers,
why so
so
many dudes can't tell the real woman from the fake.
but again, that's why it's important for a brother. Because listen, all y'all niggas is old just like me. So y'all done lived through life, had experience, good, bad. You know what I'm saying? But for those who haven't gotten to these spaces, men or women, all they getting is bad stories. And they are afraid to take on that challenge for themselves and view it for themselves and build it for themselves. When I first met my wife and got married, my family was going around talking about I wouldn't last 2 years.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't spend time arguing back and forth with them about my life. I just run my life down, you know, on wax. I just put it into play because I always thought that I want to be righteous in this space. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, everybody gets to it differently. Listen, I had a good run single. A lot of these aunties out here, they was flying me out. They was cooking, they was cleaning, washing clothes. They was doing everything. But I didn't take it for granted. You know, I bought everything I had, my skills. They love it. Sisters love a man with a hammer and some forearms. It's still the same game. It's different players. So if you want a certain life, just start moving in that capacity. Move in your righteousness. Don't you already been cheated on? Don't cheat people. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna provide business, do a good business, do it professional, keep it moving. Not every attractive woman you meet should be a woman that you be trying to holler at.
True.
Stay away from all that. But again, it takes time. I'm gonna shut up after this. If you're a man, you 25, I'll say 30 and over, and you ain't got a belt in your closet, then you still playing little boy games.
There ain't more
I'm
than
sure.
3 suits in that motherfucker. Damn. You know, I get what you said, you know, but it's not a one size fit all. It's hard, man. You know,
Raising in the city.
everybody's not even having long term thinking. So even if you did find that bad chick or that really, you know, dude that you think long term thinking, y'all heard me say this before. No matter who it is, are, y- are you looking at the person that's gonna wipe the shit from your ass when you say? That's what I see.
But
It's
it's
gonna.
funny. It's funny you say that, Carl, because you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Again, I can't. You know me. I definitely don't want to be the fucking hypocrite because at the end of the day, I believe, and I've grown to believe that a woman's past does not matter until I'm ready to wife her. Because when I was looking to hit it, I didn't care about her past. I didn't think nothing about what was going on with her. I ain't knew nothing about in that moment. We ain't even thinking about nothing. But as soon as there's feelings involved, we wanna bring up these other questions. As soon as we want to make her the wifey or do something like this, we want to ask about that perspective and things like that. But if she was to give it up on a one night stand, none of this would matter.
Yeah.
So you're telling me here's a chick, bad as hell, looks like she got her shit together, but she, listen, child services know her by first and last name. You still gonna smash?
If she matches what I'm looking for in the meeting, we have that conversation. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say I wouldn't because I'll be lying to myself. And
This is the
a lot
person.
of men do.
But
Hold on, a lot of
remember,
men do that.
this is the person that you're gonna say, okay, so what? She got a history with child services, with her kids and all of that. You would still smash, knowing damn well if by accident you get her pregnant, now you're wrapped in.
No, but
See,
that's
this is why I said long
no,
term
no.
thinking.
The other part of the question you should have asked was how was that going to do that? Because I'm already prepped on that. I already know that. So if it's worth the risk to me, I've already had that conversation. I'm doing all that. That's what I'm saying. The accountability for me would because I made that choice.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to blame her because CPS, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm still the one making the choice to pursue her sexually or pursue her in that mindset, knowing the issues that she already had.
okay, you're gonna be sorry later. No problem.
Hey, salute, man. Shout out Shanita, man. Shout out to what's that? Zion Kitten. What's up, young
What's up,
lady?
Zai?
Again, man. Salute to everybody joining us today, man. We just gonna move on, man. What's our next
Let's
topic,
move
man?
it.
Let's get right into it, man. Y'all want to get some messy stuff, or y'all want to stay
Oh
biblically
Lord.
righteous today? Which
Let,
one
let
y'all
me
want
let me
today?
do let me do this
Which one
because
y'all want? Y'all want 15 minutes of messy? Y'all want
you
the two
are.
hours of righteousness?
Oh Lord.
Anybody in the chat got a question for us? Anybody want to ask the question? No, maybe wife school, Miss Poppin Snuggles again. Anybody want a question?
See, usually I do the question,
Zion
but
King, you want
I'm
to
gonna
have a
go with I'm gonna
question?
go with the
Yeah, we
flow
can
on this
go.
one because you're
Yeah,
gonna.
go with the flow, man. Let's see what we got
Mm,
over, Carl.
Lord.
Evolution. What you got, Evolution? I know you got something up your
We
sleeve there.
got
Put
something in the
something.
back chat, man. We got some questions on here, man. You know we do.
Come
Yeah.
on, bring it. We're
Okay,
just
so we
sitting in the
got
barber shop.
here's what we got, man. We got can black men still lead black women? Men and mental health causes and solutions. Please, did it say did he possibly getting out free?
I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
a
I like
similar
that. I
question.
like that. Can black men still lead black women? I like that.
Ooh, okay, let's go with that, man. I
I like
like
that.
that
I
too,
like
man. You
that.
was thinking along my, but I
I
was
like
like,
that.
yeah,
I like
okay.
that.
Yeah.
I
So
like that.
let's go ahead, brother. Go ahead, King.
Okay,
Uh,
so I'm gonna go ahead. Normally, I'm the one that's very pro. I've already been labeled a feminist in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, you know.
So
I'm just messing, man. You know.
no, it's respect. I'm not.
Yeah.
My feelings are gonna get hurt easy. We barbershop, and we talking that ish. So I'm gonna say black men can lead the women that want to be led. Okay, we have what we have. Unfortunately, are too many people paying attention to things that pop up on their algorithms. So there's a
Mhm.
large faction of women that are never going to be ready to be led, that are the loudest voices in the
Mm-hmm.
room, amplifying ideologies that are not
Mm-hmm.
going to make other women be in a mental position to be led.
Mm-hmm.
On the male side, we have a lot of guys who are faking it on their job resume because they want the job of your vagina, but they don't necessarily have long-term interest for your mind, body, or your spirit. So it makes it hard for women who are led by emotion to make sound logic-based decisions.
Mm.
You can spray
So,
on charisma, you can spray on intellectualism, you can spray on the appearances of success. Sometimes the smell doesn't wash away for a couple of months. And by then the woman's already made decisions with her body that she regrets. So that's
so,
the healthy people who want to be led can't be led. There's not not enough healthy people out there.
Mm.
so, brother, you give a unique perspective, right, from the men. So, what age did you embark on this type of journey within your own life? Have you always done it as a 20-year-old, or did you wait till you was a 40-year-old, like most men do, close to 40, mid 40s now? And it's like, hey, uh, you have to be a little bit more intentional about how you approach, because you called out a lot of games that we do play as young adults. So what age, about what age, just in general?
Okay, so I know that I think differently from most guys. And so that's why a lot of times it comes across as, I'm gonna answer your question, but I want to give a preface. I For me, I was really about that this life and this mentality since shortly after I started getting hair on my nuts. Um, I wrote my first number one song when I was 15. People were throwing it at me, and I still was saying no, thank you. I wanted. I came from a house that did not have love, and I wanted love.
Okay. Okay.
So if I once I had it, I wasn't going to do anything to screw it up. I had
Okay.
seen what it looked like
Okay.
when guys screwed over a good woman,
Okay.
and I didn't want to bring that pain to somebody else. So it's
Okay.
not that I just was born righteous, peace, God, peace to the nation, one love, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. I had seen the pain that comes from a guy's selfish actions.
Okay.
I had been the kid that woke up in the middle of the night and heard mom crying in the kitchen, acting like she's washing
Okay.
dishes, but she's been scrubbing that same damn plate for 20 minutes.
Okay. I get it. So you highlight something unique, you know what I'm saying, is that a lot of your views come from your personal experiences over your lifetime. And that's the unique space that I think, if anyone who's experienced anything similar, to be able to sort of flush out, I think that would allow them to be able to be a little bit more open about relationships and commitments and things like that, because you speak it from an experience, but you used it in a positive instead of using it as a negative.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I think just in that, if brothers can get to a space where they can express those things about what they saw and experienced, and then I think it could be the breakthrough, man. So salute, man. We salute to everybody, man, in the chat. We got Champ Talk Radios again. So who else? Who else showed up today? That's it. Okay. Sunshine 5.0. We got some sunshine, man. We got a little bit of everything here today, man. We got
Sunshine
a whole,
and
we got a
rain.
whole, man. We got the, who else we got? We got some snuggles, some sunshine. Yeah, that's
We
cool, man.
got that's
Salute,
bad song. Hey, listen,
salute,
fellas,
champ.
fellas. I'm a kick the ball a little further and come from a different
Go
perspective,
kick it.
because when we talked about this, we also talked about the accountability purpose, and context matters when it comes to the term or the word leadership in our culture. And I strongly and truly believe that the reason why, because if we're going to look at, when everybody talks about leadership in our culture, we talk about the historical disruption, we talk about the resilience and independence of Black women. We try to put blame where it needs to be, but at the end of the day, as men, if we're going to be leaders, yeah, we can. That's not even a problem leading. But the problem, the issue that I see, and looking at, we can look up many things, or many back and forth where our leadership style is outdated.
Mm,
As men, I think our leadership style is outdated.
mm,
I think we try to lead from the perspective of what our ancestors did, the perspective of what our grandfathers and fathers did, rather than make our own traditions. We come from that perspective where we think that we always got to be right or we got to be the ultimate leader. That's a different perspective where I say men, in our accountability purpose, we are emotionally, intellectually lazy because in today's society, it's not the same as back in the day from the leadership model that the model that we're following right now is outdated. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I think we can if we evolve our thinking and our education in that mindset, we can lead properly in our culture.
mm,
You almost make it sound like leadership is by default. You know, how you're calling yourself a leader because you got hair on your nuts, but there's nobody teaching you how to be a leader.
mm-hmm.
You understand? And that's coming like I don't want to use the word, but it's almost like being groomed to be a leader. From dad teaching me how to tie a tie, how to shave, come on.
You know,
Hey,
Y-
hey, hold on, real quick, man. We're gonna shout out Zion Kitten, man,
yes,
for the
sir.
kitten ball, man. Shout out to all my beautiful people. Yes, ma'am. Salute to your sister. Yeah, 100. Zion Kitten. Meow. Salute, man.
Ain't got enough to pay the rent, can we delay the bills? Another dollar getting spent, another day to chill. I can't afford to play it safe, I gotta make a deal. It's gotta be another way, a Cadillac DeVille.
Yeah. Carl, let me rock out, man. Then I'm gonna let y'all take over, man. Listen, man, this is a great show,
No,
man. Great conversation. Salute, man.
do it.
I'll say this, man. The old school way when it comes to, what I'm saying, as far as running my mouth, always telling women what to do and follow me. I ain't never really been into that. I'm an old school guy because I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna do a whole lot of talking when it's time for me to sort of put it together and
Hmm.
fix it. You can read the directions if you want to participate. Bring me some lemonade. I've always been like that, man. I don't care. I can always remember the girls I used to date. You know what I'm saying? And from high school, if I came over their house and their mom was bringing in some groceries, I'm trying to bring in all the groceries. Like, yeah, I got it.
Hmm.
Get out. But that's always
Yep.
been me as far as, what I'm saying? Women are smart. I like a smart woman. It's about her business and shit. But part of that business is everything outside the house and everything inside the house. Uh, so yeah, I'm always believe in that old school. Everybody plays a part in protecting the house and the foundation, regardless of their best role. The kids go to school,
Hmm.
be good kids, play sports. Us in the house, we paying the bills. I'm patching up the drywall hole. Just doing man stuff. The house always smell like some bacon and shit. That's always been me. That's the way my mother was, my father was. Again, my mother and father, my father had alcohol problem. They used to argue, but wasn't no violence in the house. And then by the time I was 16, I was like, nigga, you don't be yelling at my mama. I saw my father in the streets, but I ain't run home and tell my mother. I just realized that's not the type of man that I was gonna be. So,
But I got
I would say,
but
let me finish with this. As far as,
uh,
again, I don't think I can be sitting here telling my wife everything to do and I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that wouldn't be fair to her or me. So I don't know, man. If you want to learn how to do it, fellas. Impress her when she come over to your spot. Like, yeah, I did this. I put this together. And anyone that want to be in my life, I'm gonna put it together. You know what I'm saying? It seems hard, but the game is still the same, man. We just new players, man. So listen, salute to y'all, man. Always a pleasure, man. Listen, man, we're gonna keep rocking, man. Evo, thank you. Shanita, everybody came by. Champ Talk Radio, Zion, everybody, White School, Miss
Oh, that's right.
Poppins,
You
everybody, man.
oh, it's about that time for you tapping out, huh?
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Man,
he
salute,
got
man.
that clock.
So
He got that
Yeah,
clock.
we
so
rocking, man.
I
We
just looked at the
rocking, man.
clock. I just looked
No,
at the
man,
clock.
y'all
But
keep
hey,
rocking, man. Listen, they gonna be over here, man. They coming, man.
yes, sir.
This is
Yes,
grown
sir.
man, man. So
Lord.
salute, man.
Salute, OG. You know, it's always a pleasure having that convo with you, man.
Hmm. Oh Lord.
Hey,
See, I'm gonna tell you, I'm
it's
gonna tell you the problem that I have with this whole leadership and leadership by default. even amongst men, if you got five guys in a room, even they know which one is going to lead. You understand what I'm saying? It's not just a man in a household with a woman. Leadership comes from your ability to get people to cooperate with you, listen to you, and know that and have that confidence that you're gonna make the right decisions for all of us, not just for yourself. So that leadership is kind of more expanded than people think it is. Because even guys, I've been in situations where something happened and they're like, you're gonna take care of it, you're gonna lead us. And there's times I've been the leader and people relying on me. So leadership is very expanded. It's not as confined to just who's in charge of the household or a woman or whatever. That can expand even amongst brothers, man.
So I don't know if King talk. You got something to say before I chime in?
No, no, please. I'm listening.
So, bro, Carl, this is where I'm gonna digress a little bit because I think that again, why I say it's outdated, it's like leadership today in a society for us in today's economy. I think the word responsibility, intentionally and love in action, we misguide that as men, as black men. We don't lead from that perspective. That's what I'm chiming into. That's why I said it's an outdated context because we lead from, okay, this is it, this is how it's set up, we need to do this. No, these things evolve on a daily basis. There's a vision, emotional intelligence involved. These things that a lot of us men lack in
Well, if
that
you don't know,
capacity to be good leaders.
if you don't know something, you have to do A, fake it till you make it, or B, go somewhere where you can learn to do it. And a lot of guys are stuck in the middle trying to figure out, oh shoot, what do I do next? I don't know. I've never been in this position or nobody taught me or whatever. So you go with whatever you think is best because you don't know nothing else. But some guys, like I said earlier, were groomed by their father how to be a man. And then you have other guys that are groomed by their mother how to be a man. Good luck with that one. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the brother that he's self teaching himself based on society views. You know what I'm saying? So it's
So let me
off of
throw
the
something at you.
streets.
Fellas. Let me throw something at you, fellas, and let's have this conversation from this. Let's do the accountability from this perspective, from this lens. Father wound. You've heard the terminology father wound, right?
Hmm.
What do you think the majority of African American males? Do you think we have more father wounds than any other race, any other culture?
No,
Yeah, y'all know what father wound is, right?
no, we don't have father roles like that. No, not black men.
Yes, Carl. Yes,
What is it?
yes. This
All
is
right,
this is.
give it
This,
to me.
I'm gonna tell you how. Right. Let's just go back 35 years. Right. 35, 40 years. Right. Even a good stepdaddy is a father to me. A good stepdaddy is a father.
That's what
He
right.
was participant. Right. So when I say, and that's why I say yes. Right. This is something I learned working in social services up in Chicago. Right.
Mm,
They studied the absence of the father figure in the homes. Right. That's what they do. Chicago, Illinois is the hub of social services for the world. People come
okay.
from every country to study in Chicago social services. So if you ever been to Chicago, South Side, West Side, large, over a million some people, almost 2 million people, right, in those neighborhoods, right? A lot
Mm,
of youth killings, a lot of young violence, a lot of the worst of the worst you want to see, but they study it, right? So, and this is a term they coined, the daddy wound, father wound, daddy wound, right? The absence of the father for the man and the woman is prevalent. That's why a lot of young guys lead with emotions coming out early. They'll fight a girl today. You couldn't get dudes just randomly fight chicks 30 years ago. Well, I don't know. Some women had men in their family who fought women, but a
It was
dude in the if a
extent.
dude would have tried to fight a girl back in the day, he probably would have got beat up by a dude. A dude would have jumped in. See, now they'll stand toe to toe, point their finger, and now they switching like they wearing
Or
girls with
video it.
fingernail polish,
I,
and that's all
I, I,
absence of the
I,
father.
I agree with you, but I remember during the 60s, 70s, where smacking a chick was in movies, in TV. I mean, that was common.
But it wasn't common
So,
It
in
was
the
white
neighborhood,
privilege
Carl.
in TV. It was not something
Yeah,
black were allowed to do.
Yeah, it wasn't common in the neighborhood, Carl. You couldn't walk down the street slapping females and fighting females. You know that. You know you're a police officer. You know.
In the 70s or 80s, there was some guy in there that was going to, okay, cut it out. Hey, what you doing? What's going on? Like nowadays, people mind their business. They might even pull out their phone and record it.
See, Carl, you got on your pimp hat, man. That's probably why you having them flashbacks.
No. Y'all not gonna try that. Like I said, it was common back then.
It
Households,
was not.
streets. Yeah, I'm not gonna say in bullshit. No, it was common.
So you saw it a lot around your community.
No, not just my community. I mean, it wasn't surprising to drive up in Harlem and see a dude smack his woman. I mean, and when I mean smack, I'm not talking about to beat her ass. I'm talking about these were the type of smacks to get your attention, because there was this thing about before you get hysterical and start, being loud or whatever. A smack was to get you to come back to reality, and that was how a lot of women took it as well as men. That's why I said if you go back to a lot of movies during the 70s, the early 70s, mid
That's
70s, even the 60s. Hell, if you looked at Color Purple, goddamn, I mean, there
but
was that wasn't unheard of. I mean, it
but
wasn't.
Carl, let's be real, man. Those movies created false narratives about men. They created false narratives.
There we
Brothers
go.
wasn't doing it. Now, maybe you saw it being in law enforcement. You've seen those situations, but on a common, everyday majority of people wasn't walking around slapping up their woman. Not no 60, 70 woman, because a 60, 70 woman, they were strong as hell. And they were well protected because they were acting like women. Brothers would go toe to toe. You wouldn't know. I don't remember too many incidents in the projects where some dude slapped a brother's sister and they just walked around like it was
I
no.
didn't. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Too many dudes don't get in other dudes' business when it
No,
comes to
what I'm
their ladies
saying,
either.
even that brothers were more protective then. Brothers were even they were, we see it now as like, oh man, he put his life in jeopardy. But I don't remember. I used to watch the news. I learned any of y'all had current events back in high school, middle school. You
Yeah,
had to study
yeah.
stuff. When they said go do some current, I started just listening to news everywhere. And it was very few incidents like that, isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Most brothers would want to work with a woman per se, but now the guys are standing toe to toe, and it's a
Well, this is
different
this is a
mindset.
different era because remember
I know it's a
what the
different
women
era.
what the women did today versus back then. You're not gonna see no woman back in those 70s, 80s standing in no man's face, spitting in his face, talking about you pussy and all. You didn't see that.
Yes,
Today
you
is
did.
very common.
But
You saw it.
that's the negative correlation, Carl. Let's bring it up. Let's elevate it a notch. I
Oh
get that.
shit.
I get that perspective, but everything that you and this is why I use the context outdated because everything all the examples you're giving me of a positive was back in the day. All the negative examples you're giving me is of today.
Because the
And,
word no was more acceptable then than now. You can't tell people no today, bruh.
but you should be able to. It has changed. The model has changed. Look at it like this way.
We're not
And then,
receptive to the word no today.
but hold
But
on, hold on.
who? That's not true,
Hold,
Carl. People
yeah, but hold on,
receptive
coach.
to that
In,
shit.
in in the model today, that if we adapted it, because in today's economy, you need both the man and the woman.
Yes.
We're talking about a household with both parents, if they have kids, or a household with both incomes intellectually combined, everything like that. You need both in today's economy. Back in the day, in the 70s, 60s, you didn't need both. You did. They legitimately had the man labor as the breadwinner. The wife did what she did.
Yeah. They
In
work
today's
together.
society, it's totally different. This is why I'm asking if we're not dating in the 70s, unless you find a woman that's your age, that old, that still cling to that. Let's see how many of them are out there for that. Because even these women that are that old that are single, they have updated their dating cachet.
Sure have.
So
Yes.
again, as men, where does that leave us with an outdated mindset for dating, courting, being respectful to a woman?
Darwinism. You're going to either adapt or you're just not going to get it. I'll be honest with you. And I want to say this before, and then I want to answer the question that was asked by the young lady in the chat. Guys, right now, and again, I'm going to enjoy, especially in this chat, the feminist label. Guys right now are messing up so bad that women are considering poly that never considered it before. So y'all keep up the good work.
Time out.
I
So
heard
let's
that.
hold on.
You
Let's
really
answer
believe
this.
it?
Humble,
Hold
brother.
on,
Hold
hold
on. We
on.
gonna answer. Hold on, Carl. We gonna come back. Carl, hold on. We gonna come back. We gonna come back. We gonna come back
Mother
because
heifer,
that
mother.
that was ludicrous right there. That's why I
You
was.
Yo,
damn right it
hey,
was
hey.
ludicrous.
So why
Trigger
can't
alert like
both
a mother.
parties lead in their strength areas? That's what people should be doing anyway. To me, yeah.
But
But when people meet, they both have strengths, right? But
oh
again,
Lord.
those strengths have to be in alignment to some capacity and be willing to work together.
All right, so let me
Yes.
Yo, you
So
telling me that we should
no,
be working on strength, but see, this is where I get kind
it's
of
the
like
question, Carl. Answer with the question. It's a question on the screen.
I see it. I've seen it for the last 10 minutes. What
Trigger
I'm
alert.
looking at,
Trigger alert.
Yeah, trigger.
see, I'm trying to be nice because it's like you want to go with who's smarter or who's better at something, which is great. I get but the equality and the purpose of design, you have to wrap that up in there somehow. I don't see it. Just because you are stronger, let's say a woman is stronger than a dude by some far out chance, is that right that she should be out there changing the brakes and the oil while he's good
No,
at cooking? I mean,
no,
come
Carl.
on.
That's not what we're saying, Carl.
No,
So
Carl. Yeah,
again,
let's define it within the
All
home,
right.
let's
Carl. The
define. Yeah, that's not
strength.
what we're saying.
I'm gonna
What
give
we
it.
call see. Hold on, King. The perspective is called. That's why I said earlier. I get your defense that you're saying. We're in a court of law right now, and I get what you're saying, brother. But the issue that you're giving me is the historical concept of what the gender roles were.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset of evolving now in today's dating scene for men, no matter what your age is, you have to understand that there are women that can do some things that men can do. Should they be
Like,
doing it? Should they should they
yes,
should they be doing
yes,
it?
yes,
That's
I'm not having this conversation with y'all. I'm
yes.
sorry.
Carl, listen. Here's the thing.
I'm not.
I'll say women can do it, and I'm gonna shut up real quick. Why? My wife is 10 times better than most people in math. She can add up all the numbers every day. Every day. She can do it. I can do it, but she's gonna be a lot faster and we're gonna get a lot more reward. So she keep doing that, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna
that
keep putting
shut the hell
shit
up.
together,
That's her strength, right?
and
That's her
that's her
strength.
strength. Yes, that's one of her strengths. And she can cook. She can cook. She love to cook.
So let me
Carl,
And
you love to eat, right?
so yeah, and she
let me
work out. And she can do all that man can do. Yeah, I
so
mean, that's what I don't see what problems in that certain capacity because there's men, you know what I'm saying, to believe that if something break, I'm not gonna fix it. I'm gonna call somebody and I'm gonna come over with my shirt off and she gonna
What
be looking
the
at me. I'm just saying. So be careful.
No, but and
yo,
that's the dynamic that you have with your wife.
yo,
It's an unspoken
yo.
understanding, correct? Coach, it's
Yes,
unspoken.
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Carl,
Yes.
you got, and that's what you got to realize, bro. If I'm not saying that there's some elements of an old school love that can be put into place today. I'm not saying that there's none of that, bro. But when you look at a woman to get to her mindset, to get to what she can give you or what she can show you, you have to learn to adapt, bro. Like King Talk said, y'all keep fucking up. Send him his way.
Man, I'm not even
Mm-mm.
gonna. I was gonna comment on that bullshit because he even know that most of these
Yeah.
motherfuckers that running, they damn near fucking bisexual in their head from jump. So it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with running a poly because of men. It's because they were like the women all along within
okay.
their head. So
Ah,
don't
Yeah.
blame that shit.
So let me explain why I said that. It's really simple. I unfortunately think the larger percentage of men lie about their intentions. The majority of
I'm
men.
not doing this with you today,
No,
please.
I agree with him. I agree with him. But here's the problem.
No, how you gonna agree when it's
I'm
both
gonna,
sides?
no, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna let him
They are
explain.
gonna.
I'm gonna tell you why I agree.
So the one of the women that I am with, she did always like women, but she was bi, and she was got tired of men who assume that all women are out here cheating. Her job is going to be very demanding because she's a prosecuting attorney. So there are some days where she brings home work. And she was tired of being accused of creeping when she's actually working. Right?
Do you realize?
So,
Hold on, Coach.
I'm gonna land real quick. So what she found happening is those guys started dating other women, assuming she was dating other men, but they weren't being honest about their actions because they thought she wasn't being honest about her actions. So the attractiveness of being in a relationship with me is the level of complete open honesty. So that was the core difference, was the level of honesty. I'm not going to lie to my wife and say I'm hanging out with Trey just so I could go be
with
hang out
Becky.
with Evolution. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
My wife FaceTime me and I'm out with Evolution. I'm picking up the phone and Evolution gonna lean and say, "Hey, boo." It's the openness. It's the openness. You know what's going on.
All that does is this. This is all I hear. Oh, look, I'm not with that bullshit. Number one, do you realize the percentage of studs, okay, straight lesbian stud, the ones that, you know how many of them is coming back to being feminine, coming back to men? Because again, the higher of domestic violence cases came between two women trying to make a man and woman relationship. They found out it was wrong. That's why they're switching back. So all of this, we're going to go to poly. Listen, there's too many black women out here smacking other black women asses when they're dancing. Look, observe.
Well,
That
then,
ain't
Carl,
because they having fun. That's
So we
because
gotta
them motherfuckers want some cheeks too. Stop
hold on,
lying.
hold on, Carl. So if you're gonna go that deep, then answer the question. Answer the question that's on screen. Then
What's the question, Carl? You want to answer? You want to answer?
Question: are the single men on the panel seeking a wife?
because hey, before you answer that, everything that you have said comes into context with the answer you're about to give. Because you got to remember now, women are in the chat and they're analyzing what you're saying now. So
Listen, I'm gonna say this. Oh boy, this is so redundant. Um, Seeking and finding the one that you want, that you prefer, that fits. You understand? It's not as simplified as just finding a body. It's finding a mentality, like I've said numerous times, the person that's willing to wipe the shit from your ass when you sick. You got to go for a higher level than just being existing. I don't
Yeah,
need a cook. I don't need laundry. I don't need you for a
yeah,
maid or replace mother. That's
yeah,
already covered. The bills are covered. Your
yeah,
presence is interdependency skills,
yeah.
sex, and and that interaction of companionship.
Right.
That's not a long grocery list.
No, it's not. That's right, Carl. I agree. Listen, man, you're right, Carl. Listen, and you thinking like a logical mindset of a man, right? So that's why it's hard for you
Long-term
to say,
thinking.
right. But the King talk, listen, you disingenuous when it comes to the man, right? Men, you're not really looking at the value of what men are doing for themselves. So yes, you're going to have a lot more opportunity with the women who still want to just figure it out. But here's the thing with the young men, the men, right? They're in a space now where they've heard the worst of what we are from our own. These young men are different. They're looking at it now like I'm gonna take control. And this is where I think women are taking them for granted. Because ain't nobody ever saved a big nose, big lip brother running around in America. Once we got out to be an adult, we had to figure it out. And brothers are figuring it out now. And I think, yes, it's going to be more women going to more the women because they don't know how to move out of the box once they in it. A lot of them stand still forever. But
If you
brothers are
let if
moving forward. And I'm going to say something, shut up, Carl, man, because it's, again, man, it's a great conversation. And I think it's going to benefit brothers who hold course over the next 4 to 5 years. Brothers who hold course will be able to come back into a position to where they can have the lead by default, because women are eventually going to see that a brother, he's valuable, and they're going to be able to come into, most brothers will be able to have your situation because they're going to be honest with these women and let them know
I would.
You're
I
turning them into slaves, actually, because you got men, boys, young men walking around thinking they're slaves to women because women are teaching them, oh, no, I got you. I'm in charge. I can pay this. I can do this. I can do that. But guess what? You know this, King. Every time a black man dies, you see a GoFundMe because these women ain't teaching these guys to go have life insurance. You understand what I'm saying? Why do you think I keep talking about life insurance? If a dude is able to demonstrate the consistency of supporting and taking care of himself, being prepared for responsibility like a woman, then there's
And
nothing she could do with him.
hold on, Carl, because I'm gonna digress again. This is where I come back to you, and I'm gonna say to you again. The question was, are you looking, are single men looking for a wife? When you look, I would say I'm looking for a partner. I'm gonna answer that question. The reason why, and the reason why I'm saying that is because the concepts of what you just brought up, those immaculate concepts of what you just brought up, you're correct. In today's day and age, we're looking for these things within the culture. But I think if you have a partner who's a wife, she's going to steadfastly searches and she's going to make sure that these things are done because it all comes down to legacy. If she's your match, if she's equally yoked, it comes back to that.
See, then this is where we're going to clash because, again, 1 foot in, 1 foot out doesn't work with me. I understand, you know, how people think. I understand how people create ways to get around shit. And even me and King Talk, we've had these conversations before. We can sit here and call it wifey, we could call it roommate, we could call it companionship, we could call it everything under the sun. You are sitting there with a marriage license, legally married. So if something happened to me, I don't have to look nowhere or do anything extra. You are now my representative for the day we got married. Now, yes, we could go around it and do trust, and we can do what they call that communal living, and what I forgot what the hell they call that shit. And um,
Communal living,
uh,
being married because you're living together.
Yeah, I forgot what the hell they call
with
it. It's a
common
legal
law.
term.
Common law
Common law,
wife.
right. We can do this common law crap. But the reality, like I said, is you're legally not responsible. Nigga, she put your ass out the house, change the lock. Ain't nothing you can do about it because she got an order of protection to prevent you from coming. Now, guess what? It's different when you're legally married versus when you're not. We know this. No matter what
What
state
does
you're in.
Carl? What does legal have to do with love, trust, gratification, all that other stuff?
The same way when it comes down to a divorce, right? And I think this is where we're at today. I don't have to pay to get rid of you. If you got with a woman and things ain't going according to plan or according to whatever situation is, yeah, we have to go to court. And if you don't feel like divorcing me, it's going to cost money to get rid of you. But if we're common law, nigga, all it is pack a bag and get the fuck out and change the lock.
So
There's no
so
money involved.
so then, as men, we chose the wrong woman to try to make her our wife.
And vice versa. Women are
Nah,
looking
can't
for
be vice versa. We control
it's the
marriage,
same.
Carl.
It's no,
Carl, we
it's the
control
same.
marriage. We
No,
control
we
marriage.
control marriage, but like I said,
We
the
propose.
listen, the manipulation is always existing. Just because a man could control access to the marriage by proposing, again, you might have a woman that could string you along for 6 years, bro. You know how many people been engaged for how long? 14 years, living together, 2 kids, 3 kids together, ain't legally married.
That's your choice, though. You chose
It's
to, as a man. That's what I'm saying to you. As a man, you're still in. You know, as a man, if you're willing to lead, the type of leadership you should have in that perspective. Hey, what are we doing here?
let's go with the word comfort zone. Let's go with comfort zone because it's
I
easy
don't
for
think. I don't
people to
think we
get
have those,
comfortable.
Carl.
It's
Do men
easy
have
for
those?
people. Yeah, it's easy for both. I'm not using this as agenda. It's easy for both people to settle into what's convenient and what's comfortable. You understand? If I could tell King Talk, yo, bro, you can make $1,000 right now. All you gotta do is sit at your computer and do X, Y, Z. That's a whole lot better than me saying, "Oh, you got to go out $25 an hour and work 8 hours."
But, all right, hold on. So before King, because I know King Talk got something to say, but let's put this on a nice little caveat in a box. Let's where is the accountability for the man who's doing the courting? The man who's literally trying to make her his wife. The man who's literally he has either two concepts. He wants to sleep with her physically or he sees something better. He wants to keep on going. Where's that accountability to pull that
The
back,
only
make a decision?
the only accountabilities as far as self for the individual male
Yeah.
is either you're gonna put a woman in a position where she put up a shut up, or you dismiss and move forward, move on.
Okay.
Very simple. Because like I said earlier, as a man, you don't have to put up with nothing. You can choose to, but as the accountability part, I don't have to put up with no terms. And the reason why, as a man, when you have your shit together and you have that type of mindset, it kind of like makes you unslaved. Yeah, you got coochie, but I don't have to bow down to it.
I think that perspective is environmental. King Talk, what you talking about?
So I wanted to. I know that in a lot of these conversations, I have been goaded into trying to talk about how things work in my poly dynamic. So this is an
We're not doing that tonight.
this ties into how I handle the same concerns that Carl was talking about. There
Mm.
is no way in God's green earth that my wife is going to have a GoFundMe when I pass. Right? I have made sure that she has insurance. Her name is on trust for things that for my kids' bank accounts. And my kids have their own individual businesses in their names. Since I cannot have a second or third wife legally, the only level of assurance and insurance that I can give to the other two partners that we have is that they also have properties in their name. So they have things with equity that they could use in the event of my passing, they wouldn't have to all of a sudden jump into a job. They could rent out a property, use that income, to help offset their cost of living. They have money that they've been retaining because they work, but they don't use their money to pay bills. So they would
But
be
King Charles, you know damn well in the black community today, there's no blueprint laying around like how to get on Section 8. You understand what I'm saying? You may have acquired or learned how to do these things, but it's not a open blueprint that anybody could just say, "Oh, okay, I know how." Especially if they don't have this to even, you know what I'm saying? I could tell you about it. I could give you the recipe, but you still don't know how to make it right. You
I,
understand?
I do. What I will say, because I want to drop this free game on Evolution's podcast, and thank you to you gentlemen for being here. One thing that a lot of people can do that is not that expensive is owning a vending machine. You can get an old vending machine for about $800. Place that vending machine at a non-emergency facility or the volunteer fire department. These are places where there's somebody there 24 hours a day. They can't get away from their job to go and grab something to eat. And you can average at the start anywhere from $400 to $1,000 a week off of that one
Okay.
machine. So there are ways that black men can start to make passive income in their sleep. Before my last three children were conceived, I already had businesses in mind for those children. My oldest child has 8 vending machines, and he unfortunately probably earns as much per year as a lot of grown men. So get
And
past income streams. The level of empowerment that will give you, the way that you will sleep peacefully at night, the way that you will walk like a leader, the way you won't talk about 50-50, you will be in a whole other place of peace.
yeah,
All
but
right.
it's not a one size fit all. And like I said, the reason why I don't mind having these conversations, but this one kind of burns me sometimes because I literally heard two grown ass motherfuckers over 40 tell me that they don't believe in getting legally married and having marriage license because they don't want to have no connection with the government. But I said, wait a minute, your name is on your child's birth certificate. The trust is through the courts. So
That's emotional literacy. That's
whatever
emotional literacy.
this is what I'm saying. Whatever bullshit reason that you're trying to create or utilize for not legally getting married to a woman that you say you love or have long term thinking with, is bullshit to me. Because again, that piece of paper says not that you can't go nowhere. It doesn't just say that we're committed under the eyes of God and religious and spiritual, beliefs,
Well,
but it's just a legal piece of paper, no different than a driver's license, a birth certificate, a social security card, or even a goddamn pandemic check that motherfuckers took.
all right, keep that. I love the energy, and because the reason why I love, I love the segue, bro, and I do a lot of research on both sides of the coin, and one of the questions when I'm having these conversations with other people in the diaspora, the biggest question, I'm going to read it to you, gentlemen, and the chat a lot, so y'all
Mm.
can hear word for word. Listen to the word for word before you respond. Can black women rest if black men don't rise? Listen to that question one more time before you answer it. Don't get triggered. Do not get
How you
triggered.
gonna
Don't
tell
hold on,
me
hold
don't
on.
trigger on a dumb question?
No, so hold on. Let me ask it one more time so everybody in the chat can hear me. Also with you, can black women rest if black men don't rise? I've had this conversation multiple times in the diaspora with people I talk to, my
Okay, maybe
mentors,
I'm
my
taking it wrong.
mentees.
Maybe you could correct me. It sounds like two sleepy, lazy motherfuckers laying on the couch. Because if he's not rising off the couch, how the fuck she's gonna rest on the couch? Y'all both lazy. Somebody gotta get the hell up.
Mm-mm. When we say rise, Carl, we're talking about rising to the occasion of what we're talking the conversation now. Come bring it back to this. Let's engulf this in conversation. When you look at the other diasporas, when you look at the other cultures, there's no question about leadership or teamwork or anything like that within a diaspora of marriage or relationships. Now it goes back to the question I just asked:
I got you.
can the black woman rest if the black man doesn't rise?
Then
So
that's the, go ahead, King, because I already got I got the understanding now. Go ahead, King.
thank you, sir. Um, I'm gonna say there's a phrase that I commonly use. If you want, and I'm gonna first say the phrase, and I'm gonna show you how it applies. I always say that in order to see what kind of woman you have, you've got to take her out of survival mode and put her in thrival mode. When a person is trying to survive, they're going to do things that they would never know, they usually would never do. They're going to react to things in a way that they would never normally do. They're survival instincts. That's why a person that's drowning can potentially even pull down a lifeguard. So once you've taken that woman, once you put your family in a position where they're thriving, then
Hmm.
that woman can actually relax. Till then, she's going to have all the things that she was previously worrying about before on her mind, in her soul. And yeah, I mean, you just don't know what you have at that point.
Okay.
What you got, Carl?
This is gonna be a trigger alert to some people, but I could care less. Can a black woman survive
No, can
if
she
the
can she rest
can she rest if the
if the
black
black
man,
men don't rise?
why she doesn't qualify for the man that is already risen?
Because they say it's not enough black men that's rising to the occasion. I've heard that conversation. That's where I was
But
going next. You
I
talk about
and
qualified.
that's where
Hold on, hold on. You talk about qualified men, Carl. Qualified men is the men that has risen to the occasion.
and that's yeah, I'm gonna stand on that one because you can't keep blaming. See, this whole conversation, I'm looking away from why we're blaming. Blaming. If you can't get up and go out there and find a job, why are you blaming the white man? It got nothing to do with him. You ain't looking in the right places. You ain't putting the right language or content together in your resume, or you whatever. Or maybe it's just demographical. But the blame,
Understood.
come on, that's too easy to be blaming something because of what? Because you haven't worked hard enough, or you don't want to change, or you don't be around where you need to be. I mean, come on.
King talk. I see you got a look on your face, brother. What you got?
Two things. I wanted to press call to answer the question more directly, but I also wanted to say something to Miss Poppins. Miss Poppins, I'm hoping that when you said, Miss Poppins said, I've never felt so honored to be a half breed because y'all don't like melanin. My sister,
What the hell?
I hope that there's somebody else in the panel that you are directing that towards. Because you, first of all, I love a melanated.
Oh Lord.
All right. There's nothing like a melanated woman, the intellect, the soul, whatever of the essence of a melanated woman. So I hope you're not
And
the
and,
on
and
the whole.
everybody, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't deal with nobody that's not black. I don't deal with white chicks. I can't take the smell, so you can take that for what it is. All right. Listen, I don't care what shade of black it, as long
You
as it's
hold on,
black.
Carl. Well, my understanding is that the OG over here, Unc over here, man, by be the same age, we Unks right now. Unc probably just said you need to answer the question straightforward. You ran around the polls.
I've never ran in the last what? What are you talking about? Ran? I don't know.
I,
You ask me a question, I'm gonna answer it directly, and that's it. Now, maybe it's not unless you want to give me cue cards. I could read from cue cards.
I'm at.
Oh, all
I was reading what was said in the comments, sir.
right, hold on. You know what? I'm gonna put him on the spot. Uh, Evo, give me that trigger alert one more time for Carl. About this, let's segue into the next question. We're talking about that leadership perspective and what women look like and what they look like for us. What about Carl? You speak a lot, and I agree with you in some perspectives from the old school mindset, right?
But
From
it's not
leadership.
based on just old school.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
also
Yeah, today you're trying to do a combination,
Mhm.
I'm guessing the majority of your theories are coming from the old school. Now, why is it so hard for the black man to unlearn how to lead and rebuilding a manhood without our egos?
I'm being honest. I'm so anti-equality. I don't even know how to even formulate that answer. I'm gonna be honest.
Take the
Cause
No,
ego out of it, bro. Can you take the ego
I'm
out of it?
it's not an ego, it's not a pride or nothing. It's I'm standing on purpose and design, man.
Call City old school. What the hell do you want from him?
I mean, I'm listen, I wasn't raised nor today. I don't even feel comfortable seeing a black woman saying she's going to work and her job consists of cleaning out the sewer line or changing my oil pans and brakes and rotors. No. You want equality? Go to one of the metrosexual males. I'm not with it. We're not going to be fighting over how much time we're in the mirror and all. No, and I'm not doing that. Purpose and design. I'm a man. You're a woman. Your purpose and design is to do what? What is the purpose and design of a woman versus the purpose and design of a man? There's not equality in that, bro.
Yo, you know what's funny? Because like I said, and I'm going to tell you what I tell my mentees a lot in this conversation.
It's like you
When
telling me to
you
wear a dress. What the
No, no,
fuck?
no, no, no. I'm about to tell you. I'm about to answer your theory. I'm about to put your theory to a different perspective. If we stick to this old school mantra and not learn how to combine or theoretically put them together, because there's different theories in psychology that put things together. If we don't learn how to do that, bro, we're going to sit here and we're going to try our best to literally fail.
How is
King
it a
talk. You
fail?
understand what I'm saying? Because
But
all
but
we're doing, if we're not evolving, we're failing.
but how is it a failure? Because here's a line in the sand. Okay, my job, my responsibility is this. I don't need you to micromanage it. Of course, you have input, but I don't need you to think that we're both equal because we're not. Your internal organs is smaller than mine
So
for a
so you so
reason.
you so you'll be upset. You'll be upset if your wife was stuck on the road and she needed her tire changed and she called AAA rather than call you.
You're damn right.
Damn.
Because what I hear a lot, especially on social media, I hear more excuses that is trying to absolve a man from being responsible for a woman. And that's what I have an anti against. There's nothing, I don't care how much technology, how much money, I don't give a damn. Your job, sir, is to mow the fucking lawn. I didn't say go pay some Mexicans. I didn't say that expect your wife to alternate Saturdays with you. No. Stop finding excuses not to be in your purpose and design as a man responsible. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying.
King
There's
talk.
too many excuses, man.
King talk. I
Yes, sir.
know you heard him, right? And
Mhm.
before I even rebuttal what Carl's saying and we move on to conversation, we talking as grown men, we having a good convo. What you think about that?
Um, I think it's the value of the commodities that a person brings to the table, right? I am not looking for my wife to be equal to me in strength, but I value the equivalent things that she brings to the table. So when I look at equals, I look at the value, the sweat equity of what that person brings to the table. The way that she makes sure that I'm eating properly so that I am nourished and best prepared for what I need to do. The way that she keeps on my case to make sure I haven't forgotten to go to my doctor's appointments. These are things because I spend so much time. Like when people ask me how many people are in my home, I've been telling people 7 people for so long that I forgot that I'm the 8th person.
Hey,
Sometimes I
hey, hold
forget.
on, hold on, hey, hold on. What's the ratio, bro? I gotta be the asshole. What's the ratio, bro?
I have 4 kids and 3 ladies.
There you go.
I'm gonna ask you, and you know I don't like putting people on the spot, but I gotta ask you what it would be like if a woman or women came to you and said, listen, bro, from now on, I'm taking care of all the bills, I'm buying all the food, I'm cooking all the food, I'm doing everything that normally men are supposed to be doing in the household. How would you feel about that?
I wouldn't. I would not be comfortable.
Thank you.
Hold on, repeat that, Car. You lost me a little bit. Hold on, before I answer you. Repeat that so I can get it straight.
How would he feel if he's sitting there and his woman walks up and says, listen, from now on, I'm buying the food, I'm cooking the food, I'm paying all the bills. If there's a problem with the vehicle, it's my responsibility. How would he feel?
Are you creating scenarios to justify your context? Because that would never happen.
Well, see, this is the point. This
That's,
is the point, my man. You just can't. I understand that we are in this unisex mindset. It's a fight. It's a struggle for equality. I get it. Been going on even way before I was born. But what I'm saying is that you cannot be moved from your square as a grown, responsible man to have a woman sit you down in the chair and she's standing up telling you, I am in charge. I am the man. I am doing this. I'm doing no, because you it's like I said, it's sort of like taking you back to when you was a son, a little boy, and your mother is telling you what you're gonna eat for dinner.
You can't use that example. You
I
cannot use
am
that
using the
example.
example
I'm gonna
because
tell you why. I'm gonna
I
rebuttal you.
want you to go back to that mindset of when you was a little boy. And damn it, your mother's telling you when you're gonna take a bath, when you're gonna eat, when you're gonna do everything.
I'm going to rebuttal you, bro, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm speaking from his perspective. King Talk, tell me if I'm wrong here, brother, because you're the third party here. A lot of men look for their mothers in women. So that perspective that you're speaking of right now would be good for a lot of men because that's a structure emotionally that they don't have.
You're contradicting yourself, and you didn't think
How?
about that
You said
response.
mother. You said the mother. So I'm
Right.
rebutting that perspective. As far as so, listen. A
But you
lot of
didn't think
men
it
look
through
for.
before you rebutted.
What I'm saying to you, King Talk. Tell me if I'm wrong. In
Okay.
our diaspora, a lot of men look for their woman to be their mother. It could be a
That's why I
downfall.
said
Hold on. It could be a downfall, or it could be something that again the mother versus father wound. We talked about that.
that's baby boy part two.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is hold on. There are some instincts and characteristics that build up the choice of the woman or the model woman you're looking for. Some of those come from your mother because she was the first woman that you loved. That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful the line you're towing here, the negative versus the positive concepts of comparing a mother to my wife. Because if she has those nurturing is a key word aspects. Because your wife or your woman is going to nurture the relationship, and in that relationship you are involved. So she's going to also nurture you, bro. So if
And
she
I got
comes to
I got
me,
a word for that. It's called micromanagement too.
right, Lord, listen, Amen. You
Have
know
you ever
what?
had let me ask you something. Have you ever had a woman constantly reminding you of something you already know?
Yes, and we separated quickly.
You understand what I'm saying? It's like, yo, if you're a passenger in the seat, I know you used
Mhm.
to driving all by yourself, but today I'm driving and you're the passenger. Don't micromanage because it shows you don't have confidence in the man being the man.
That's a stretch though, because
That's not a
you know
stretch.
what? You know what's funny? That's funny.
That's more
Hey,
common than you think.
no, I get you. So I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna stand on your business, and I'm gonna segue into lessons about manhood that most men should unlearn, because a lot of these things will come from a historical concept. So how much of these lessons that we learned that doesn't factor in today that you think we need to unlearn?
As long as you're not trying to change me into a metrosexual, I'm fine.
You gotta keep, bro. We both quiet because you gotta go a little bit further with that, bro.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I understand the woman's purpose design, the nurturing, and all of that. Don't get me wrong. But we're not trying out new lotions. We're not, in other words, you're not going to take me out of my purpose and design so you can feel equal. We're not doing that.
Whoa, okay, hey, bro, hey. He don't want to use that term.
Why not? I've been using that term for years.
So in a relationship, a man and a woman should be equal.
No, how is the equality? How?
When he's thinking of equal, he's thinking of the physicality and the different.
I'm
And
See,
that's
not
only
talking
ten
about just the
percent.
physical.
so here, here,
Hold on. I'm not talking about just the physicality. I'm also spreading on the responsibility and the purpose. Like I said, there's a big knock at the door, King. Who's getting up to go to the door? You or her?
Carl,
okay,
my purpose 10 years ago is not my same purpose now. It has evolved. You know why? Because I have to now put into perspective all my environmental factors, all everything that's coming. So my purpose has evolved to match. The baseline's still the same, but I have to keep changing that purpose. You know why? Because I need to become who I want to attract. So if I become and I find this woman where she elevates my purpose, am I going to say no? This is my purpose. I got to stay right here now.
I'm gonna say this, but I'm not trying to be a smart ass. Steve Harvey tried that shit and it didn't work for him.
Cool.
Steve Harvey.
Well, listen, I'm not going to use. I'm not using the silhouette
I
of
was hoping
relationships
King would laugh
in
at
media.
that
I'm
one.
using the common man. The common
Dom
man.
texted a food order.
Yeah, the common man. Let's talk about the common man. The common man who we don't get those privileges. We don't get as everybody else. The common man to nowhere unless you're doing some bullshit, you're going to be highlighted because you got, like you said, the dollar store dude, Pookie and Ray Ray, the common man.
Mm-mm.
What do we need to unlearn as men?
I think one thing that we need to unlearn as men is the idea that mental health therapy is an attack on who we are.
I like that. I do like that. I do like that. Because if you don't have that mental health together, everything crashes. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what you think or feel. Everything crashes. That mental health is not supported.
Yep.
No legs. It's like no legs on a chair. You ain't gonna be comfortable.
But it's the
So
same it's the same concept. I can look at you and say you are what you provide.
yeah, but I don't want the woman to fix the legs on the chair though.
So you know what, Cole? That was one thing I had to adapt to with my wife. One of the biggest arguments we ever had was there was a day that I came home and it was something I can't remember because this has now been like 15 plus years ago. There was a
Hmm.
day that I came home call. She already there was something she bought. And by the time I got home, she had already put it together. Boy, when I tell you I didn't like that.
Yo,
But I had
yo,
she calmly reminded me that that's what she was doing before there was a me. And that she
I
actually
get that.
hold on,
You got it. You got it.
hold
That
up, hold
was
up.
before.
It's something that she actually enjoys doing as a mental challenge.
When
So
you was independent, but now we're interdependent. Two different structures, bro. I don't need no relapse. I don't need no. I don't care what you did when you was independent. That's like you, lady, driving, and I'm in the passenger seat, and we pull up to the gas station. You get out and pump the pump. Are you crazy?
so wife podcast, I want you to re-ask whatever question you said was not asked so we can get to it. But I want to finish by saying this. I was so accustomed as a guy to making sure that I am always the one doing these types of tasks that I didn't leave any room for the fact that she may actually find some sort of level of content, level of I feel
Participation.
type shit. And sometimes, and like the way she phrased it, she was like, "Baby, you have been working 14 hours straight for the last how many days? Week plus. I wanted to see if I still got it, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to have a break when you walked in the door." So I felt less offended and felt more supported. So it's the way that we receive the intent, also.
Okay. Okay. And I would appreciate that. Matter of fact, get dressed. I'm taking you out to dinner. I got you.
Right, that type of
You
shit.
understand?
Yeah.
But when it's intentional in a way that says replacement or I don't need you or I'm equal.
Mhm.
That's when it's like almost offensive because, like I said, how many and this we could put it to the comment section just saying, how do you feel when you're driving your car and you see a female driving and a male in the driver's seat
I'm
and
passenger.
he calls himself the husband or the wifey or whatever? And they pull up to the gas station. She gets out, not only pay for the gas, but pump the damn thing. How do you feel?
So I'll answer you on that. These are so these situations that we are looking at in our diaspora, the little things that we are arguing about. These are small things. In my and let me tell you why these are small things. Because at the end of the day, we are so gender specific and we're so egotistical with our roles that we realize that sometimes that's her way of saying I love you because love is an action.
Hmm.
That's the way of her saying certain things are moving a certain way. But because again, we're stuck in this mindset that these are the gender roles and everything is divided and I need to do this before you do that. I get the pumping the gas. I get all that. You do all those things. But there are some times when you have to realize that she's just showing you how much she loves you. That's the emotional intelligence that a lot of men in our diaspora lack. Because all we can do is now come back to saying, in that concept card, I can guarantee you that the average black man will be like, why are you doing this? You should have done this, you should have done that, rather than saying, hey, babe, why'd you do that? Because and she will let us say, you know what, you've done it so many times. I just want you to relax for one good time.
When you ever heard
And you
that
receive
saying,
that.
if you ever heard that saying, if you give a person an inch, sometimes they take a yard.
And that's what I'm saying. There's so
I
many
don't
negative.
think you're going. I don't think a lot of people in here understand what I'm saying, and it's cool. But it's going to come to a point where the woman's going to walk up to you and say, "Hey, yo, King Talk, we going downtown for what? We're going to try out this little thing that I saw, and I want to. I want you to have a baby for a change."
Car, you're going too far now.
No, I'm not going too far. I
Listen,
want
bro.
you.
What I'm
Hold on. I want you to paint your nails,
Jesus.
your toenails, and your fingernails. Matter
listen,
of
bro.
fact, I want you to grow your hair and get a perm.
Listen, bro. Listen. In that concept, there's a deeper psychological perspective that you need to go into. What I'm saying to you is the baseline. There's a baseline here of courting, respect, love and action that needs to be shown in our diaspora. What I'm saying to you, because what I want to know that she's okay, because there's going to be times when she might be on the road by herself and she needs to do this thing. She's not going to be with me. So I've known that I've taught her these things.
There
So
are going to
guess
be times. There are going to be times when I don't want my wife to be waiting for AAA. What if you're somewhere and AAA is going to be another 45 minutes and I'm out of town? Yeah, so I do make. I want to make space for the person to be the version of themselves that they are, and remove my ego for what it may feel or look like to random people, right? So no, I'm not going to have my wife paying the bills. No, my wife. If you ask my wife how much it costs to get an oil change, she would not tell you. But if she doesn't know where to go, she needed to go get one.
Hey, I'll give you the perfect example. I'll show you this, and I'm still. I think we're still waiting on wife podcast. Drop that question, Mama, because I love your mindset, so I would love to answer your question. But Carl, this is what we're talking about. The things we need to unlearn, because again, it's not. It does nothing to my manhood, nothing to my manhood, because I'm already secure in my manhood based off of me and how I was raised and how I grew myself, how I got Shorty. Let me use Ebonically spaces. When I walked with Shorty, I got her on that level. So nothing, if she wants to say, hey, Kurt, man, take it, relax, man, I got this. You know why? I'm Because she's now showed me that she loves me. She should give it
You,
love and
you,
action.
you,
That's how
you
I
really
receive it. That's how I receive it, bro. I'm sorry.
is this close to the line on how to turn a man back into a female or some shit? Because I swear, I just mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. We could sit down and read the Bible together. We can sit down and have a picnic together. Yeah, I could teach you how I do the things I do. But if I walk in the house and that wife is putting up sheetrock, yeah, we got a problem.
That's
Hey,
crazy. No, that's
hey, Evo.
at,
Give me
at
a
that
second.
at that point, y'all got to switch draws.
Hey, yeah,
Thank you,
but
bro.
Carl, the responsibility is on you for you to let me get to that point.
The responsibility is you sit down and say, listen, man, leadership,
I see him as
I got this. You're a passenger. Let me do what I do. I don't need you micromanaging. I don't need you trying to trade places for a day. I don't need you to replace. I'm cutting the grass. Don't let me touch. Look, if I see you touch that lawnmower, we got problems.
Hey man, listen,
Don't
listen.
touch the cars.
Uh, See that's that they go that whole. Hey, so White School Podcast. I found her question. She said,
And
"How many
if
of them really worked? How many of them really worked on their mental health this month, or were just fronting?" Meaning, Meaning we can answer that question, but let's say men. How many men do you think on an average basis work on their mental health? But let's answer it twofold. How many did you really work on your mental health? If you know what that means, because it's June, Men's Mental Health Month.
Yep. And this is why I said focus on reaping the benefits, the rewards of what you invested in. My mind has been so relaxed over the past 2, 3 months because I'm focusing on my cruise in less than 20 days. I'm focused on this bag over here that's mostly packed for the cruise. I'm like all the bills are paid, the car, everything. I'm not stressing about shit. So as far as mental health, man, it's like every day, you know how they say you solve one problem, two open up. But just make sure you minimize those problems. Don't create more major problems. That's the only thing.
Okay. Um, to answer the wife's school podcast, um, I do not think that most men place a focus on their mental health. I have gone to counseling in the past, and I still use the techniques that was taught to me in the present. So, for example, I make sure I go outside and touch earth. I make sure I tilt my head up to the sky and take deep breaths. Sometimes just 15 seconds. I could be in line, waiting for the line to move forward, and I'm gonna stop and practice deep breathing for 10, like 2 sets of 15 seconds, right? Because you got that kind of time when you're standing there waiting in line. Um,
Hmm.
so no, I practice mental health techniques on a daily basis. I have to having three women in my life. I have to be emotionally, spiritually, mentally rich in order to not be completely drained or yeah, completely. It's an asset. It's a resource that I have to have in abundance.
It doesn't have to be serious. Mental health can also be fun. I realized over the years, I like doing things that I haven't done in a long time. My mental health could be, yo, you know what? I'm waking up tomorrow and I'm gonna make me some cream of wheat. Something that takes me back to that happy place of childhood.
Love some cream of wheat. Any
I'm
go.
gonna go. I'm gonna go fishing. I'm gonna do something that reacts to something like, wow, I haven't. I remember being in that good space when I last did it. So that's mental health to me too. Making it fun. Don't have to be serious.
So I think, and that's where I might digress a little bit, because for me, when it comes to the black man's mental health, and I'm speaking from that perspective. For me, I'm not speaking to every black man.
Mm,
There's so much that you have to unpack, and I've learned, I've been learning, like you said, I do therapy for myself, and then I do it for others, and I continue to do it. The reason why I learn on both aspects, and I'm gonna tell you why, because if I don't, there's so much going through my mind on a daily basis based on historical facts, today's and in the future. And there's so much pressure on an individual black man to come out of this little this the little the bubble that we're in right now. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we have a choice. Are we going to stick with what we have right now and use it as an excuse? Or are we going to elevate and say your environment does not dictate your choice and chances of how you choose to move along? So for my mental health, bro, I even switched my IG concepts to I do questions, but I base them on the diaspora. So that calms my mental health, because at the end of the day, I know I'm a black man that's trying to some way. There's conversations that need to be had, fellas. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me not keep going. But as far as mental health, every day, man, I look at how I can elevate myself, how I can become the person that a black woman would love, or a black woman would want to be her king. That's my mental
mhm,
health, and that's just concept. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's a different vibe. If you understand what I'm
mhm.
saying, it's a total different vibe, man. If when we look at mental health,
And I'm gonna be honest with you because You have to have, each man should have his own standards and his preference. They're not both the same, but you have to challenge yourself. Make your standards higher and higher. The only reason why I say that is because it separates you from falling short to basic or something. I don't want to say less than average. You know, if that makes sense. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like it's like saying I could go outside and get a chick and get laid, but can you get a chick that give a damn about you? Do you understand? Big difference. So the standards have to rise for every man, so that way it makes it harder for you to be accessible by just anybody. You got to
Okay.
close that gap. You got to close that gap. If you
All
talk
right.
about mental health, that
Yeah.
I can't think of no better way of maintaining your own mental health by just closing the gap of how many people even have access to you.
So there's something I wanted to tap in, and we can give a good 5 minute synopsis. Then we're going to jump into our closing thoughts. But
Mhm.
one of the biggest thing, and I think, and I'm gonna start with you, Carl. I know you just finished, but there's a reason why I'm starting with you. King Talk, give me a little bit of grace here, brother. Um, what I'm There's a question that I was asked by a young woman, young woman who literally only dates black men, and she's not black. And her question was, why do black men struggle to say I'm hurt?
Because we have been taught over decades, even our grandfathers' days, we can't fail. There's no safety cushion. There's no soft mattress. When a black man fail, nobody cares. He's gonna get ragged on. You understand? It's not something that you can just hold your head up high and live. It's gonna eat at him. And if he's constantly doing it as he get older, it's really gonna hurt. So if you really want to know why it's hard for a man to say
No, a black
I
man,
f- a
Mhm.
black
black
man.
man the black man to say because like I said, he already knows I'm not supposed to fail. Kids looking at you, woman looking at you, the block is looking at you, your relatives looking at you. Come on,
Mhm.
come on. You're blacklisted yourself. Now climb out that quicksand. And
King
you
Talk.
know how hard it is to come out of quicksand.
That's
Can't get
right.
right. Can't get right.
That is correct. King Talk. What you
Yes.
feel?
Huh?
What you thought on that?
Um, I agree with what he said. I don't think that we were raised tighten up. You know what I'm saying? If your bottom lip's starting to quiver, tighten up. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not about to cry. Tighten up.
Stop crying, boy.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Wipe the dust off your knee. Keep walking. Let's go.
yeah,
What?
it's that's what we do. We tighten up, and sometimes we so tight that we wind up with a heart condition. You understand what I'm saying? We too tight.
Damn.
I peeped that. So before we run the final thoughts, the answer I gave the young lady, and it was to the point where I think because we're scared of being an individual. That was my
Hmm.
answer. That was my answer. I think as black men, we're scared to be an individual, to stand on our own purpose, because I think a lot of times as black men, we pick up the struggle of all black men when it's not yours. Your individual struggle is different from every other black man. Not saying that it doesn't have any core concepts of it, but the way you're living right now, what you're moving to, how you're courting this young lady, how you want to be loved, is subjective versus objective. So when we try to put everything else in the mix and use compartmentalism, use excuses. It's different because my struggle for you in love is different from you and King Talk TV, right, Carl? Let's
Correct.
be realistic. My struggle to find
I
love
was
is totally
I thought
different,
you
brother.
I really thought you was going to respond with vulnerability.
That is vulnerability. That's me telling you right now, I can stand on my own square and say, hey, as us three men up here, the way you're looking for love is not the way I'm looking for love. So I'm not going to say there's to be able to stand on my square and tell you, okay, how you portray love and the definition, what it means to you from a historical perspective versus what I'm looking at right now or I'm looking for is different. That's what we're missing in our diaspora, meaning a lot of black men don't know how to be individuals in their relationships, in courting a woman, in respecting a woman, and doing these things. That was my answer to her. And the reason why I said that answer is because if she didn't take it that way, she will lump all of us together.
You know, just try to remind people, and I do this as often as I can. You know, there is a thing called relationship PTSD. That's not gender and that's not color. And that plays a large part in our decision making because we're paranoid or like I said, we're so overprotective of our vulnerability that we'll look for the convenience of it, but we don't want to dive into the commitment of it. It's like somebody told you you can have her right now. That chick, you can sleep with her. But once you sleep with her, you have to stay with her for the next 10 years. Nigga, you and your dick is gonna have a conversation at that moment. You can have her, but you must stay with her for the next 10 years. That's
But
scary to people, man.
but that's how you should be thinking from day one anyway. It
At all.
shouldn't be
Not
it shouldn't
not
it shouldn't be the point. It shouldn't be the point where somebody has to point it out to you.
not when you have relationship PTSD.
Well, if you still have
It's not.
PTSD, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You shouldn't even try.
See,
That's
square peg in a round hole. And this is exactly what you're seeing more and more since the pandemic on social media. People are trying to create excuses and ways around because vulnerability and commitment issues based on relationship PTSD. I see it.
that makes sense. I mean, I get it from that perspective. Hey, Evo, I think we can cap it here a little bit, fellas. What you think? We gonna talk about relationship. We're gonna segue in relationship PTSD next week if Evo bring us back. You know
We're
what
all
I'm saying?
for it, brother.
We all for it. Evo. Let's run that final thoughts because next week we're talking about relationship PTSD.
Yeah, because I just saw a comment about if you have relationship PTSD, you're not doing the work to strengthen your. Nah, nah. First, you got to learn how to identify and accept before you can work on anything.
Makes sense. Where you at, Evo? Who you got it popping up? I think most likely it's Carl because I'm gonna
Well,
go
I'm gonna do
last.
my phone look. So the final thoughts that I have right now is just gonna be a small segue from that. Just like any car mechanic, any doctor, you have to ascertain where the problem is at, what would be the most effective long-term thinking way of fixing it. Then, of course, for most people living on a budget, you gotta be cost effective as well. And then you go in there and do the work to correct it. But you have a lot of people driving around with their check engine light on and think there's no problem. Okay. Most people will blame their car for problems instead of blaming themselves. So I'm using that analogy only because it's a reality. And I'm going to be honest, you can't force somebody to look in the mirror. They have to want to and accept it and say yes. It's just like when you ask people, yo, t- tell me about your last two, three exes. If they constantly always blaming somebody else, that means they refuse to look in the mirror and say, hey, I contributed to the outcome of what it is. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that final thought. Like I've always said, if you change your mindset and your patterns, your outcome will change the same. If you don't, the outcome is never going to change. Salute.
Respect, respect. Hey, Evo, he talks some good shit right there, man. Let's move on to King Talk. What you got, brother?
What I want to say is this. Um, there is an equivalent equality to relationships when you have a relationship that's a yin yang situation, meaning you found somebody that aligns with you in a way that their strengths are the things that you're not strong at. You have to be willing to be alone so that the person that's meant for you will find you. Ladies and gentlemen, do not keep strays in your yard and think that you're going to find someone who wants to remove the strays in order to come into your yard. Make room to sustain what you wish to obtain. Do not be afraid to grow, because when you don't grow, you become stagnant. And in a lot of cases, that's how things begin to mildew.
Ew. Ew.
Preach, brother. Preach, brother. That's what we
Not a
talking about.
mildew.
Hey, man.
Ew.
Listen, respect to the brothers for their final thoughts. I'm gonna jump into mine, and I'm a very proactive versus retroactive person, so I got mine written down. So I'm gonna read to you my little excerpt that I look at from perspectives. Fellas, remember, your healing isn't just about you. It's about the woman who wants to love you but doesn't want to raise you.
Mm.
It's about the daughter watching you to learn what love should feel like. It's about the mother who prayed for your peace but never found her own. When man does the work, a woman can rest. When a man leads the truth, she doesn't have to lead with defense. So, to every brother listening, keep doing the hard, quiet work. Keep showing up in softness and in strength. Because when a black man leads, the entire village breathes easier. Until next time, man, heal loud, love deeper, and protect what matters most: your mind, your peace, and your people. And with that being said, I come from that perspective, but let me go to the other side. Like, subscribe, make sure you do all of that. The Jamaican come out to me. Hey, listen, like, subscribe, do all that extra. Listen, because
Oh
we're going to
shit.
find you.
Oh shit.
Don't make it come out. You're
Y'all,
there
y'all don't
upon
want
our
no
landslide.
Y'all don't want no Jamaicans at your house. That's
You're there
yo.
upon our landslide. Man, that's not
And
listening. Evo, take us out, mama.
I
if there's somebody out there that want to have a conversation about the whole poly thing,
no, no, we don't do that.
hit my line.
This is not a recruitment center. No.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, man.